Welcome everybody back to the stream again. There we go. We've made it. All right. I think I need to. There we go.
Including sort of dark angeling,
Perfect.
is that a word?
The
models with some extra details and back banners.
All right. Are y'all able to hear the
about you?
stream?
Bit of Eldari, painting some of them. Doing a little bit of Caradrons on my painting table at the moment. And
Did you finish your cogfort?
I did finish my Cogfort. Yes,
Perfect.
had a good
Here
time.
we go.
I did
It
loads
was
of
on Warcom.
Okay, you can
It
hear
was,
this. You can
nice.
hear the review.
So
as well as
meanwhile, the other thing I've been doing to fill a little bit of my hobby time is I've been sort of theory hammering some army lists using the Warhammer 40,000 app.
Yes.
And I've been looking at. I saw somebody had made a really interesting little video on Instagram or somewhere about
Guess
how
what?
you could
You're
use
the
the
only
Fulgurist
one
detachment,
I can
which is like
hear
land speed eccentric.
in my head.
And so I'm trying to work out how I can synergize that with all of my Ravenwing things to make like a very fast moving sort of.
There we go. Can you all still hear me? Emma, our sound engineer, can you check? Can't hear the stream now, but you can hear us. Well, that's not good. Oh no.
It's worth talking about some of the things that are coming up. And the first
Emma,
thing
testing the stream now.
is how
Can you hear us?
new people to
And
Warhammer
the
might
reveal.
get started in the Warhammer 40,000 hobby with some Warhammer 40,000 starter sets. So here is the Warhammer 40,000 starter set.
New
We've
starter
got one
set.
in the flesh.
Both
this
good.
is
Thank you.
an enormous box and is the
Awesome.
perfect way if you've never played Warhammer 40,000 before and want to get started to jump straight into the hobby. Eddie, what can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so we did know that some of the miniatures from the Warhammer 40,000 Armageddon set would be available in other sets in the future. This is one of the first places you'll be able to get hold of them. So in this, you effectively have a combat patrol of Space Marines, painted as Ultramarines, but you paint whatever color you want. You've also got a combat patrol of Orcs. You've also got a battlefield of stuff to play across, and effectively a combat patrol's worth of battlefield terrain for combat patrol. So like
yeah, absolutely. This is essentially everything you need to get started with your first games of Warhammer 40,000 all in one box. All the models are push fit. The terrain's really easy to put together. It's got the game board and all of the pieces marked out for you to put your terrain on, so you can just play straight out of this box if you want to.
Yeah, it's also got all the rules and stuff in there.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got your core rules and then the sort of the guide for using the models that are in the box. So this is the first of the starter products that we're going to talk about right now, but there's more to come. So what if you wanted to get started in Warhammer 40,000, you don't want the 2-player launch set, and you just want maybe a starter set which focuses on one of the factions? Well, this is getting started with Space Marines and is the same combat patrol that you saw in the previous box. And it comes complete with the paints that you would need to do your first paint jobs on these models. I think it's 11 paints in the set, so you can.
That is very cool.
Get started right away with the Adeptus Astartes.
Yeah, and this is perfect if you've already got a gaming group. They've already got their box sets. They've split them all up, and you've got an odd number of players. And what if you want Space Marines? You can grab yourself this set and start playing straight away. This is your self-contained little starter set for Space Marines.
It will perhaps surprise nobody to know there is an Orc equivalent of this.
Yes, this is almost exactly the same, but green.
There you go.
So you have the combat patrol for Orcs. Then you've got a bunch of variously Orky paints.
This is awesome.
So this is a great little set if you want to kick off an Orc army.
Yeah, and I think one of the things to note here, you've already said it, but if you're just looking to sort of join in with an existing group, or maybe just start one of these armies for the first time and you're already in Warhammer 40,000, this really is a great way to do it because you get the paints you would need to kickstart that painting process too.
Or if you just have an Orc army and just want loads more
just want a bunch of reinforcements.
Loads more Orcs.
Yeah, no kidding. There's another way to get started as well, which is this introductory set, and I find this one to be quite exciting. You've got some Space Marines and some Orcs and some paints, and you can have a gaming experience.
Same models
but it's
as
really
Armageddon.
sort of a first steps into the Warhammer 40,000
Yeah.
gaming and hobby experience.
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. And the thing that's cool about this to point out is that while the other sets, the miniatures, are the same ones from the Warhammer 40,000 Armageddon set, these ones are brand new miniatures. So you've got 5 intercessors in there. You've got a Space Marine Lieutenant. It's been like a whole week since we had a new Space Marine Lieutenant. So
couldn't have come
had
soon
to
enough.
have one. And then you've got a new unit of Orc Boys. They are Orc Boys are the same kind of unit as the ones you get in Armageddon, but they've got different poses. And critically, you've also got some heavy and special weapons.
Yeah, you've
in
got
the
a
Orc
big
squad.
shooter and a rocket launcher inside.
Absolutely. So if you want to add in some extra shooting into your big Orc mobs, you can. And all the characters are kind of new poses as well. So it's quite a cool little set.
I get weirdly excited about all the different poses of intercessors, particularly these sort of push fit ones, because I find them easy to build. And so
I'm still learning how to share these things on
hinting.
Instagram and
There you go.
YouTube.
We're on.
And
Right.
so
There's
I just
also
posted
some
the
paint
URL
sets.
to
This is the
our
paints and tool
live
set. This
stream
would synergize
on
perfectly with that Warhammer
Instagram.
40,000
So we'll
starter
see
set.
if
We get
more
the combat
people
patrols.
join up,
It's got
but
13 paints,
it's very
clippers,
goofy.
mold line removing tool, and a
How I
brush.
did that.
Everything you need to get started with your painting journey. If you've never painted Warhammer models before, this would be a
Interesting
decent pickup.
enough.
Yeah, this
look at
is
the
a lovely
new
little set. I
designs
started
on
with
the
a
boxes.
set a lot like this when I started playing
Like,
Warhammer.
there's a
You can
whole
paint
new
almost
art
anything
style
with this box because you've
when it
got
comes to
all
the
your primary
boxes.
colors and then black and white and your
Like,
metallics. And
this is all
some really useful
either
little tools.
it's
So this
new
is just
or
a
it's old
really
art that they're
solid base for a
changing.
paint.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
If
this
you want one
feels
a little more
more
themed for a
Armageddon, but
particular
look at
army,
the
you can start with
design of
this, which is
that.
very much like the set I started painting with
That's
Warhammer.
not
It
what
was an
they're.
Orcs
That's not
paint
what
set
they
back
were
in the
doing.
day.
All
This
tempted
is boys and paints. So you've got 6 paints and a brush and a couple of Orc Boys and a grot. Again, just dip your toe into the painting experience and
That's
see how
really
you get along.
nice, actually. But
There's a Space Marine equivalent, which is
I will
intercessors and paints.
say,
Again, 6 paints, a brush, and 2
what
Space
an
Marine
interesting thing
intercessors.
to not have a full
Deep breath.
unit.
That was a lot
right?
of ways to start your Warhammer 40,000
I
experience.
don't know. That's a
And I
good
think it'd be a
question.
good time to like introduce your friends or
Yeah.
a family member or relative or whatever that you want to like.
It's a
try and
really
convince to
good
play.
time to start playing
Oh,
Warhammer 40,000 because there's a brand new
Skittles.
edition out. Everyone's kind of in the same place. Everyone's learning the rules together. This is the perfect time to hop in.
Nice, I love it. So it follows on quite nicely. We're
This
going to
is
talk
very
about some
exciting.
terrain now. So we've got some really interesting terrain kits to point
Terrain!
out and talk about. The first is
Finally,
Combat Patrol Battle Zone. So this is all of the terrain you see here in a box, along with the game boards and the tiles to
interesting.
prints to put the terrain on. This is everything you need in one box to play a complete game of Combat Patrol.
And
That's
if you
okay.
already
That's
bought the
awesome.
starter set, if you add this box onto the starter set, you effectively have a full board's worth of terrain for something like an incursion or 2,000 point game of Warhammer 40,000, or in a self-contained set, it is the exact right amount of stuff to play Combat Patrol.
Yeah, and worth pointing out
Interesting that this is
with
what
this
they
one,
showed off
this,
with the
like the models
bikers.
in the starter set, are unpainted. So all of these terrain pieces, they come on the grey
Nice.
plastic that you're familiar with, easy to put together, and then you can paint them in the color scheme that suits your board at home or your armies or whatever you would like.
Yeah,
I
this
wonder if
set,
this is
Combat Patrol set,
terrain, which
comes in
means the
around the same
bikers
price
might be
as
in
a
combat
Combat Patrol itself.
Perfect. Right. If you want to add more things to it, or you just want to focus on building a terrain board that suits your own preferences,
Can't wait to
we've got a
spend money
few
on
little terrain sets
walls.
to talk about. This is the Manufactorum Ruins, which are those sort of classic building shapes that you often see on battlefields.
Nice.
There's some of these in that Combat Patrol set that we just showed you before. There's more. There's also the galvanic network. This represents these
That looks
power
really
lines
cool.
and things that run across the sort of ash.
Oh,
waste
I'm buying a
Armageddon,
bunch of this.
and is a wonderful way to bring some character to your battlefield. And then you've got the capacitor cluster here, which looks like it's writhing with electricity.
I've
and
never,
you've got
I've
like a
never
really
been so
unfortunate
willing to
servitor
separate
trapped
my
in the console
models
at the
or my
front.
money
Yeah,
from
life's pretty tough
models
for
that are
services in
just
Warhammer 40,000.
walls.
It is. It's not the best. Now, all of that is really exciting terrain. All comes
Thought you just meant the
unpainted,
terrain was not the
and is
best.
all coming fairly soon down the pipe.
That's
There's
absolutely true.
something else we need to explain to people that you've already talked about a little bit with Aidan on a video before, right?
That's absolutely right. Currently, all the terrain in my collection is Eddie painted. Very
Perfect.
soon, I'll be able
Okay.
to also benefit from ready painted terrain.
Yo,
This is the new ready painted Battlefield Armageddon box, and this is everything you need for a full incursion size game of Warhammer 40,000 in one box, and all of the
That's a-
terrain in this comes ready painted and ready to
That's
go.
a
Yeah, the
pretty
box is
swanky
enormous. It is
box.
jam packed with absolutely loads of fantastic terrain,
That's
and we've
pretty
got one here to open.
rad.
So what we thought we'd do is actually just crack one open and build one of the terrain pieces in it,
So
nice and quickly, to show you what it's like.
While Adam tells you about it, I'm going to build one of the terrain pieces in here.
Great.
Show you how quickly we
Get
can make it.
clipping, right? So what we've
Well,
got is some,
all right.
some nice pictures to show you
Everybody
what Eddie gets
enjoy this
feverishly
part
to
of the
work.
show,
So here you
which
can
is them
see what
building
you're dealing with.
terrain.
Essentially, it is a full battlefield worth of already painted terrain. Try and talk
No,
over
this
the
is super
rummaging
cool.
and
I'm
catching of
excited
Eddie.
to see
Um,
it.
The set comes with the game boards that you need. It has the terrain
Oh, it comes with the
markers,
board.
so you know
Okay.
where to put your terrain pieces onto. and obviously the
Oh, it
terrain is
comes with
painted to
markers,
a
too.
ready painted to a brilliant standard. So if you are looking to just clip the things out from the frames, put it together quickly, and start playing a game of Warhammer 40,000 on a battlefield
I
that looks
agree.
really good.
That was
This is a
also coming
wonderful
home
way
with
to
me.
do it.
I am
It's going to be
absolutely
enormously
taking
popular
this
with
thing.
people who, you know,
I
like
love
me
the
at home.
box
I've already
that it
got
came
my
in,
own
too. I
terrain
thought it was
board.
gonna be like
But
a made
if I
to
wanted to
order
host a game
thing.
night and I wanted maybe like
But,
3
like,
friends to come
this
over so we
feels
could
like
play
there
round
this
robin
is
style
definitely a
games,
series of
this would
terrain that
enable me
they're
to do it
doing.
nice and quickly. You can
Like, they
imagine
even put a
gaming
sub
clubs and
thing about
tournaments
it saying,
and all of those people who
and
have a
it's
need
painted
for a
on the
nice looking battlefield
sprue.
quickly are going to find this to be really
Oh my
exciting.
god!
Feel
I
free to hold
wonder
that
if
one
they're
up.
Oh,
painting
there you
on.
go.
These
I'll
are the
show you what it
details.
looks like. Here you go. If we get a zoom
Man,
in on
they're
this.
taking all my
So this is a piece
ideas. I'm
directly
literally,
off of the frame that Eddie has just
I'm
worked on.
literally
And
painting
you
a
can see the
Fulgrim
level
on
of
the
detail. You've
sprue
got the
right
fantastic
now.
glow effects around the
Everybody,
sort of the
that
lumens and the
glow is
candles
really
and so
nice.
on. Inside, you can see the interior detail. Some within the sort of
Let me just move this
the
random
walls, you can
RAM that
see
I
this
have.
sort of chipped and very
Like,
nicely done sort of corrosion dripping down the walls. Really
You're
is a
copying
very
me.
impressive piece
I'm
of
painting
terrain.
on the
Almost there.
sprue
Almost
now.
there.
So now we've got 2.
All
Now
when
I
I
always try
start
and put these
painting on the
together too
sprue is
early.
when they
So I
start
don't know
painting
what-
on the sprue.
So
Cowards.
essentially, it just push fits.
Also,
One of the
if you
things that
haven't
we've
ever
discovered,
painted on the
the
sprue,
guys who run
it's
our
really
global
fun,
events are
actually.
really excited about this because it's going to enable them to put together large
Especially if
battlefields
you've
very
already
quickly,
built
and you
the
can
model
also
and painted it beforehand.
unclip these things when you're ready
Like
to,
done a.
and
This
put
is
it
your
back
second one.
into a
Super fun.
relatively
So I think
small space.
Yeah, the
There
whole
you go.
thing actually, if you leave the kind of floors off, then the whole thing. Oh, I need to clip out those a bit.
We need to do a bit more
A
clipping.
bit more
There you
clipping.
go.
Tiny bit more clipping. If you take the floors out, the whole
Same.
thing packs back into
This
the
is
box.
me
There
anytime
you
I'm
go.
building
Pretty much.
something.
So that's
gotta
pretty
go
Which
back
is
to
nice
the
if you're
core of
looking
it.
for somewhere to store your models.
And I think we're almost there. Almost there.
Perfect. So one of the things I think that's quite nice about this is I
just want
speed
everybody
painted
to
my
know.
entire battlefield, but it
This
took
could
me
have been
all of
time
a
that we could
Saturday
have
to
seen
build,
another model.
and then all of a Sunday to speed paint, and it's still
I'm
not of
being
the
a
same
turd
quality
about this. I
as
am
the
being a
completion on this.
turd.
And so you've done the
But I
first
am
building
sitting
in
here
what
going.
the amount of time it's taken us to talk about this. There we go, moving it around. And it really
Even
does
they
look
also
wonderful. You can
said,
see
"Oh,
the
no
bulkhead
glue."
door and everything inside it.
Good pointing
And
out.
I couldn't be more excited
Yeah, I
about
think
Maybe
I'm
I
pretty
should be
pleased with
paying
this. I'm
attention
quite
more
pleased with
instead
the
of just
effect
running
I've
my
got on
mouth.
some of the glow there as well. I think the dry
That's
brushing
real
it. Are you
nice.
achieved on
taking
this.
credit for all this work? are you?
Yeah,
Well done.
I just made this. Sure, saw it.
Lovely. Nice. So
That's
this
really
is on its
cool.
way later in the year. It'll come
Also,
behind all of the other
The
starter
way
products
that
we just talked
the
about.
second floor is set
And
up,
so
it's
you're
nice.
looking more towards the autumn time or beyond, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
They
and in
said
terms
about autumn
of
time.
price, this one comes in. It
Yes,
has twice
good
as much
thinking about the
terrain
storage.
as the Combat
brought
Patrol
up terrain and
Battlefield,
storage
and it comes
recently.
in at a little bit more than the cost of 2 Combat Patrols.
There you go. So yeah, really exciting.
All right,
Okay,
$300
so
basically.
we've
Ooh.
talked about all of the starter sets. We've talked about all of the terrain, the ready paint terrain.
I
Very
will
exciting.
say,
I guess we should talk a little
if
bit about
it's-
the things that are coming along with the first codex of
Yeah,
11
we should
edition.
probably do that.
So it's
if
time to look at
if
some
it is ready
orcs.
painted, I pay $300. That's not bad.
wheels.
Ooh,
Get
minis.
yourself a truck. I got
Oh!
some trucks. Big trucks. Big
I'm so
trucks.
excited.
The best trucks. They's got all the gubbins and guns. Grabbing
This a
tools, grabbing
new
shooters,
war truck?
rockets, you name it. Remember, walking is for kids and grots. Go fast.
Oh
or
my
go
god, it's a
home.
new battle wagon. Okay, it's a truck. It's not a battle wagon. That's
That was
awesome.
fun. It's a good time to be an orc this year, isn't it?
It is. They are
Good
getting
thing I
absolutely
started
spoiled.
orcs
The-
this
we can
mission.
confirm today the first codex is orcs,
Mhm.
and alongside the codex,
Okay.
there are a whole bunch of new miniatures. One of the most exciting miniatures on its way is that new truck and that new mech, which are on their
Should we
way.
talk about the mech first?
Let's do the mech first. So, orc mechs, those of you who know orcs will know,
Okay.
these are the mechanics that basically put together all of the
That
weird
was
and wonderful
awesome.
creations that go into battle alongside
I'm
your orcs.
so
They are
hyped.
surprisingly good at
Odd
science.
boys with the
Yeah.
innate knowledge to just make awesome things out of scrap.
Gene-coded, innate, kind of inherited knowledge in terms of how to make things like teleporters and trucks and guns and
I
shooters.
wish I had
and-
those skills.
Yeah, I
I'd be
mean,
much
you know,
more
if you
useful
apply
around the
yourself, I'm
house.
sure you can do it.
Question.
But
is
yeah,
this any
this
of
is a
the
really cool
rumor
miniature.
images?
It has a kind
Is
of
there anything
really
that you guys
thematic.
see?
He's got a kind of
I feel like
spanner
that
clobber
wrench
thing
was
there.
a
He's got his
rumor
slugger.
image?
But the thing that he really does is kind of
I don't
bring
know,
with
though.
him all of the awesome machines that make Orc Army so fun to play in
Yeah.
Warhammer 40,000.
So with no further ado, let's talk about the truck then, which is maybe the star of that show. This
Truck.
is the new orc truck. It's an evolution of
You
the
don't like the
classic
pale
orc truck that you
green
know and
skin?
love.
That's fair.
A little bit bigger,
I'm a more
a few more
bright
options, and it's
green
really
myself.
just wonderful to look at. It comes
Like I
with
like
a variety of
the
options.
old
In
Warcraft
terms of weapon
orcs
mounts, you've got
when
the
they're all corrupted by
big
the
shooter,
spell or
you've got the
whatever
rocket
it is.
launcher. You have options for a grabber claw and a
I like
buzzsaw,
that.
and all of
I
those can be
agree.
swapped in positions on the top, so that you can build different configurations to have some great variety as you're
Hell
making your
yeah.
trucks.
Yeah, this is a phenomenally cool miniature. Like the current
This
truck
is so
is really
sick.
cool, right? The
Absolutely.
truck that is in current Orc armies is a perfectly good vehicle, but it's been with us for a long time.
I
right? Like,
hope
it's
y'all
been,
can
what,
see
15
that
years?
the
something like
front
that. Yeah, it's been around for a
wheels
while.
of
This
the
is a
truck are
beautiful
cambered.
reinvention of it. The thing that
They
really
have a
makes
slight
this is the fact
cambering.
that
I
you
don't
can build
know
it
if
in
it's
so many
meant to
different
be
ways.
that they're
Where
like
the
pushing
pintle
down on
mount
the
goes,
suspension.
where the close combat
But now
weapon
I
goes,
want a
how the boys are
a
positioned, what
cambered
the
out.
driver looks like.
Even
what goes on
on
Look at the
screen, you can see
cambering
way
on
looks
it.
like
It's
going around the
actually
corner 'cause you can
cambered.
alter the look of the
I
Yeah, you
now
can kind
want
of
a
play with
fully
where the wheels
cambered
are, and I
out,
think especially if
Orc
you've gone for a
truck.
really heavy sort of
Low
Evil Sons
riding.
or Speed Freak style army,
Yeah.
and you want to have a bit
Oh,
of variety in your force, this one kit with no changes at all from what comes in the box can be
Okay,
built
so this is
enough
one
times
kit.
that you would
That's
never
really
need to
cool.
replicate what a single truck looks like.
Yeah, so we've got a couple here on the desk. The one I'm most excited by is the one with this awesome looking skull prow at the front. It just looks so like mean and orky. This
That
sort
looks
of whole
awesome.
skull motif for the orcs is so iconic. Yeah, really fantastic. Now, what we
Here's
wanted
the
to
real
do, the reason we
question. Are
brought
they
these
gonna make
along,
us wait
is so I
till
can sandwich
Orktober
this little
for this
guy
codex?
between
Space
them
in the
The
park
and
first
and
just
one?
show you, if you've
Means
already
2
got some
months,
orc trucks
3
in your
months?
collection, how
I
nice
don't
they're going
think
to look.
that's going to be the case. I think this is coming out next month.
I know, right? So this is how it looks with the classic truck in between. It's a really good look. I think
Yeah,
people are going to
if
be
you've
very
already
happy.
got some trucks in your army, you can absolutely keep them alongside
I love
these new
their
ones.
cambered. I love
I think
it.
there's something to
They're
be said for an
cambered.
orc army
That's
that's
so
got a
sick.
ramshackle look to it. So you could replace them completely, or if you want to have a mix, that's absolutely fine. But I think the new ones just bring they just look
I'm
great. They've got
very
so many cool
curious
options. They're gonna look
on
phenomenal.
whether
Nice.
the
So
new
that's
guns
a
that they
couple
have
of
on there,
fantastic
right?
brand new
That
kits
there were
coming for
3
the
different
orcs.
gun types
There's
it looked
more on the
like. I
way
wonder if those are
that
going to be
people
new
might be able to learn about through
gun types.
the progress of the Deathmire.
Yeah,
event.
that's right. So there's lots of orc stuff still to come. Some of the stuff we're showing you today, some of it will be revealed potentially if the orcs do well in the Siege of Deathmire campaign that's currently running. So if you want to see some more orcs, play some games, send in your results, and you might get to see some more very, very soon. There are a few other boxes to talk about today, though. We've got the other stuff from Armageddon as well.
Yeah, that's right. So essentially, if you wanted
Nice.
to pick up some of the things from Armageddon or duplicate them, we're going to be releasing the Dakar rig separately, the War Track separately, and the Weird Boy separately, and also the other sort of command staff. Is that the right word for an orc?
Sure, why not?
So the Banner Knob,
Command
the
staff,
Big
man.
Boss, and the Pain Boy will be released in a command crew set as well. So there's a whole bunch of extra stuff to come. We should probably talk a bit about the codex itself, though.
That's
right?
interesting
So,
that they're going to be in a command
obviously, this
set.
is the first codex of 11th edition, and it heralds something really exciting in terms of a format change for Warhammer 40,000 codexes.
Here we go.
So here you can see it's contained in a
New
slipcase,
codex.
and we've got one live in front of you. So it's a perfect bound book, slightly smaller than the codexes in terms of
You're not getting
height,
your hardback,
but it is
books
really
anymore.
thick and is packed with an incredible amount of orky content.
178 pages it is.
Perfect. And the
$60
first thing that I would
paperback.
like to just eulogize on is how incredible the lore section for this is. We are talking a really thick lore section, which is everything you would want to know about the orcs and how they operate. It's got a gatefold map. You can see it here, which is the orky perspective on the galaxy, all the places that the orcs are fighting, all the different wars that are taking place.
I need that.
But there's a
for
lot more
Emperor's
to it than
Children.
that. It
I
talks
need
about
that
the
in my
orcs, where they
Emperor's
come
Children
from,
codex,
how they
so we
fight,
know where
their
we're at.
culture, the different clan structures. Literally the most complete guide on
pretty
orcs you could
rad.
hope for, and perhaps the most information on orcs there's ever been in one place. Every unit gets its own full bestiary section, for example.
That is very cool.
Information on the glyphs, information on like what
the map
clan
is
icons and
super
things
sick.
that like. It's really great. But also, some people might be interested in the rules.
Yeah, so one of the big changes to the rules in this codex versus the previous ones was in the last edition, there was quite a lot of rules in your codex, but quite a lot of them you couldn't use in all the different types of games. So if some of it you could only use in Crusade games, for example, all of the rules in this codex, and there are at least as many rules in this one as there were in the last one, you can use in every type of game. One of the ways that manifests, you'll immediately notice, is the amount of detachments that you get to play with. There are 15 different orc detachments in this codex.
There's loads of ways to use
Loads
your
of different
army,
ways to
right?
put your army
who's an
together,
orc
ranging
player,
from
tell me
lots of different
which
sizes in
ones
terms
of
of
these are
detachment
new.
points. It gives you a huge
don't know.
variety of different ways that you can potentially put an army together. Some of these you could probably guess at the themes. There are like some fast ones, some stompy ones.
Yeah, the Fly Boys gives itself away, doesn't
right,
it?
like so there's some ones you could probably guess at, but there'll be loads of brand new ways that
yeah.
you can put together an orc army that's just never been possible before, and it gives you a sense of what codexes will feel like in the new edition, where they will
But
bring
that's
this
also-
huge variety.
They're talking about
of
Crusade
list
rules. They never
building
said that's
opportunities.
still there.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Just said
there's more to it than
everything
just the
is playable in
detachments.
every game.
Obviously, the rules have been looked at by the Warhammer rules team, and they've come up with some things. This is the army special rule, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah, so War, right? You can't have an orc codex without a War. The War rule has changed a little bit, So there'll be
New
some things that are
wobble.
familiar. There's some slight changes.
Reroll
It still
advances
allows
is
you
new?
to run and charge, but it now lets you re-roll that run as well. It also
That's
lets
nice.
you have assault on all of your weapons, which is a thing it didn't used to
Yeah,
do. So
which
that means that
sucks
if you've gone
if
for a
that
very
is
shooty
gone,
army, so like
because
speed
Codex
freaks, you've
Pacific
got loads of like,
Crusade
bikes and
rules
buggies
was
and
cool.
things.
Yeah, we
That-
stand back with flash kits.
Yeah,
or
that's
whatever.
immediately really useful. And it also gives you the riled up ability, which triggers all sorts of things across all the sorts of different bits of the codex, where other
Oh,
units will become more
no.
powerful, and you still get that invulnerable
Riled
save as
up
well
is
to make
going
it
to
It's
be
a
more-
really
like
great
being
idea.
It's a
able to
really,
do
really
a
good rule. For
wall
one
more
turn
than
of the
once
game,
per
you'll have a
battle, I
great
guess.
turn every single game.
Yeah, and then all of the units within the codex have had their data sheets looked at. So here's the truck that we just showed you before,
Okay, these are how the
and you
data
can
sheets
see
are gonna
what's
look
gone
at
on with
now.
it. So you can see the different weapon options and things to give you a sense of what it means for your codex, I suppose.
Yeah, so what you'd expect, it still kind of has a similar-ish stat line to what the truck does at the moment. It is a kind of medium-sized vehicle.
Interesting. Look
The
at the
things
big
that you'll
dual
notice
shooter.
are that it has more
Lethal
weapon options
hits,
than it used to. So you've got options
non-monster
there for
and
different combat
vehicle.
weapons,
It's
different shooting
only gets
weapons.
And
lethal
piling out is
hits
quite a
against
Yeah,
nice, isn't
you've
it?
got a really cool little
infantry, and
mechanic where if
that's
an
a
enemy unit
change.
gets
That's
nearby,
that's
something
a
like a fire
major
dragons
change
or
right there.
eliminators or something is ready to kind of eradicate, ready to kill your
Now
truck.
we have
You can pile the
non-monster
boys out,
vehicle lethal
ready
hits.
to kind of countercharge
So
or to
that
avoid being
normally
caught in
might
an
have been an
explosion or something like that.
ability,
It's a really useful little rule. It's got
but
some quite
now it's a
neat little tactical
keyword.
plays you can do with it.
That's
So I
really
think trucks are going to
new.
be very useful.
Yeah, perfect. And then in terms
Also,
of
the
other
frame
data sheets we
keyword is
looked at, it'd
officially
be
on
worth
here,
looking
right?
at the Orc Boys, who really have had something of a stat line glow up, it's fair to say.
Yeah, there's a lot going on
Yeah,
this stage
shoot
sheet. And I think
lethals
I would
against
recommend if
that,
you've got an Orc army, take a
lethals, not-
screenshot.
yep,
Yeah,
this
There's cool stuff there.
now is the moment to
This
record
is
this.
new.
There's the first thing you'll notice is there's loads of weapon options. So one of the things we got asked a lot about the Armageddon box was, is that
Man.
all the options that the Orcs will have in the new edition? It absolutely isn't. You've got loads of different choices.
In fact, more than you've had recently.
More than
I'll
I
be
think you've ever
completely
had
real.
for
Good
an
for
Orc
orcs,
unit.
this is really
You've
cool
got some
for orcs.
classic stuff returning. So you've got a burner back.
I'd
in this
love
week,
fan of
everybody
not
else
having
to
rolled
get
to
a
hit,
little
which is pretty
idea of
cool.
what's
You've got loads of
happening.
different options for your boss's weapon. And the thing I want to draw your attention to is almost kind of tucked away right at the bottom of that stat line there is the strength of a basic Orc boy is now 5. And that is
such bad news for
that
Space
is an
Marines.
across the codex update to your Orcs. Every single
Okay.
Orc is at least strength 5 all of the time now. So
Okay,
that goes
they
for
are
boys, it also
making
goes
major
for your
changes
kind of
to the
beast
data
snaggers,
sheets.
and all of the things like your knobs and warbusters and everything get a commensurate increase as well.
So
So
codexes are
your
gonna be
already
really-
pretty scary
that's-
Orcs get
That's
even
a
scarier all the
massive
time in close
change.
combat.
Fantastic.
They're
I
all
think,
strength 5 now.
It just looks like a load
They
of
just
great
said orcs are
information. I'm
strength
really
5.
excited
I'm going to
about
have a
this
great
codex.
time with this
Yeah,
codex. I'm going to have a really good time.
I
And it
wonder
heralds
if we're
something really
going
interesting.
back
The last
to
thing to
previous
talk about with the
editions where
codex is
certain things were just
obviously in the back of it,
Marines
it
and
includes
power
the
armor
code
are
that you will put into your
all
Warhammer
strength
40,000 app
bits,
to unlock and
rather
access
than
the
it being
rules.
specifically
It does
the
something
weapon.
else on top of that. This is kind of like your passport to ongoing content for your Warhammer 40,000 Orc Codex throughout its lifespan. There will be regular drops of lore and rules so that you can
lore
continue
and
to
rules.
get
Same
great stuff
points
out
cost
of your
as
codex
guardsmen.
as
Yeah.
the time continues.
Yeah.
They've given us a sneak peek into some of the
It's
stuff that's
pretty
coming,
bad.
and it sounds both really cool and really
My-
thematic. So I'm quite
It's
excited
same
to see
points
what
cost as
happens with
guardsmen.
that. And then I imagine
Please,
all the other
please
codexes.
also
will
tell
follow.
me
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
you also
Perfect.
hate
So,
the fact that
yeah, the
Plague
first
Marines
codex
are 20
coming down the pipe
points
is
more
Warhammer
than
40,000
guardsmen,
Orcs,
'cause
and
that's
it looks
insane.
amazing.
Do stick around. We have more Warhammer 40,000 for you later in the preview.
Yes,
as
yeah,
well,
we'll be
so do stick
returning
around.
to the 41st millennium later
All
on
right.
in the show. For now,
Now
though,
it's
we're going to
time
segue
for
into
the
something which
stuff
is quite interesting. We've
that no
talked
one
a lot
cares
about
about. No, I'm
ways
just
to
kidding.
get
This is
people
gonna be
who are
interesting.
new to Warhammer started with Warhammer 40,000. So let's talk for a little bit about the Warhammer Academy.
Huh? Warhammer Academy? What the hell is this? This is very strange. Warhammer Academy. Vanguard Tactics, watch out. Unless they're getting hired. I think they're going to get hired by Warhammer.
Wise wizard beneath the mountain. We are in
It's
search
Adam.
of enlightenment.
It is,
Long
it's
and
Adam.
difficult has been our journey, and many things are still hidden from us.
Tell me what you seek.
I
What
saw
is the difference
Beard
between the
with
Black
that
Rage and the Red Thirst?
How do you get decals to lay smoothly on a Space Marine shoulder?
Yeah.
And how exactly do
I
you
also
use
don't know how to
command
do that.
points?
Ah,
Yeah, that's fair.
so you seek to learn the ways of Warhammer.
Half of the gamer. Can't wait. That's gonna be great. That's cool.
So Wise
I love
Wizard
it.
Beneath the Mountain. What is the Warhammer Academy?
I'm so glad you asked, Eddie. Warhammer Academy is a really exciting thing that we've been working on behind the scenes here at Games Workshop for a while now, and is the perfect way to answer the question, how do I get started with Warhammer? The idea is that people can come to this website, which is free to
Well,
use, and they can
Guess
get
my job's
guided first steps
down the
on
toilet.
how to begin exploring Warhammer. So there's
No, I'm
going to
just
be
kidding.
at
This is really
launch
cool.
like well over 100 videos, which are all video lessons that deal with the lore and collecting, with painting and modeling, and with gaming, to get you on your first steps. I'm out of breath. I had to throw this costume on to get you started on your sort of first steps through Warhammer.
So it's free for now.
When the website launches, it will focus on Warhammer 40,000 to coincide
when will
alongside
it
all
be
of
a
these new starter
Warhammer
products,
Plus
so that
then?
people can like experience Warhammer for the first time and go through sort of learning all about the universe and what the factions and the armies are, and really going on that same journey that we've all been when we've been able to sit down with somebody and who's told us all about what Warhammer is. And then the painting team have put together these amazing videos that start really basic and then go all the way through to some really great techniques that will have your army looking fantastic. And then the gaming side takes it from the assumption you've never played a game of Warhammer before and takes you all the way through to playing your first games of Combat Patrol, which we played and had a lot of fun with. And so you should be able to have a wonderful experience. If you are completely new to Warhammer, or there's somebody in your life that wants to get started, this is a wonderful thing to point them towards when we launch it, and they'll be able to take their first steps. If you want to sharpen your own skills, we talk about, as we've been working on the Academy, the idea that you can build your skills, your confidence, and your experience to get the most out of this wonderful Warhammer hobby that we all enjoy. And so the whole purpose of this Academy, which is free to use, is to just get on board and sharpen those skills and your confidence and have a great time.
Sounds wonderful.
Nice.
That will
and
be
the
nice,
releases alongside
because if
those
they talk
Warhammer
about
40,000
certain
starter sets
rules,
that we talked about
right?
previously. So not long now, a
If
month
they're
or so,
confirming
and then
certain
you'll be
rules on
able
these
to
videos,
see Warhammer Academy
it's
for
going to be
yourself.
nice to have
That's great.
a definitive
Perfect.
place
I'm really
to
excited.
say, like,
Right.
hey,
Now I'm going to get out of this costume, and
this
while
is
we
an
do, let's
exact
travel
example of
to
what to
the
do.
old
So
world.
I do like that. All right, old world. Ooh, chaos. I love it. Oh, that's a torso. Oh, that was a dude. Heck yeah. Okay. 2 army starter set. Oh no. Oh, snackaroonies. Crap. You wanna know why I'm saying crap? Because if you see all these, this is just my wallet draining as this video plays. Because it looks like it's 2 playable armies to get people into Old World. Ah, it is a chaos dragon. I don't play any Old World or much of the fantasy, but this might get me in there, because that's really cool. It's the first
Welcome
Flashbox
back.
they've done in a
I
bit,
pretend to
too.
normal, and we are now thrilled by some news for Warhammer the Old World. That was a great looking box of miniatures. There's a lot to talk about. We've got some of the models here to get close-ups on in a little while. For now, let's dive into that new 2-player box for Warhammer the Old World. This features 2 armies going head-to-head. You have the army of Grand Cathay going up against the Chaos Warriors. So within it, you will see in a moment
Chaos
the
versus
Cathay
Cathay.
force. This is Grand Cathay. They're fairly recent
Cathay is so cool.
addition
Yeah, they're
to
quite new
Warhammer the
miniatures,
Old
aren't
World.
they, these ones?
And this is an army you'll have already seen before. So you've got the Jade Warriors, you've got the Jade Lancers, units that you'll be familiar with.
This is really
And they're
cool.
taking a big part in the sort of ongoing struggles in the Old World at the moment. They've dispatched an enormous force to aid against the Chaos invasion that's taking place. It's a beautiful army. You've seen it before. The showstopper for this new box is the wonderful new range of all plastic Warriors of Chaos, which you'll find in the other half of this box set. So here you can see the Chaos Warriors themselves.
Yeah, this is an amazing update to your Warhammer Old World Warriors of Chaos. Warriors
I'm really
of Chaos,
glad
of
I
course, one of
didn't
the
get into Old World
archetypal
yet.
villains, one of the archetypal visuals, really, of Warhammer, the Old World. This is a really cool army. All the bits in this are multi-part, and these are all brand new plastic miniatures.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Chaos Warriors are kind of the mainstay of the Warriors of Chaos army. These are elite heavy infantry in the best armor that you can get in Warhammer the Old World, and they stride forward in ranks of hard to kill warriors, and they will deal punishment when they get there. Of course, they are but part of this new force. The other part, and perhaps the most iconic of the Warriors of Chaos units, are the Chaos Knights. These are super elite heavy cavalry. Inside this new box, you get 4 Chaos Knights. It's a classic size. If you remember days of yore, you're going back in time a long way now, when Chaos Knights used to often feature in units of 4. So you have what you'd expect: a champion, a musician, a standard bearer, and then an additional knight. They can be swapped out with the lances that you see here in the picture.
And
so
you can
do
add
bigger
into the
units.
unit, obviously, and
Yeah,
make
absolutely.
it bigger.
You get 4 in the box. You'll be able to get more as time goes on. So if you want to build bigger
Get 4 in the
units
box.
of Chaos
You buy
Knights,
it
you
in the
certainly will
box.
be able to. Chaos Knights are
Don't
some
forget,
of
you
the
can buy
hardest hitting
more.
and most dangerous cavalry units in all of Warhammer.
They're also just like almost the archetypal heavy cavalry, right? Like
Yeah,
when
absolutely.
you build an army for Warhammer the Old World, you're like, well, I can take a charge, but could I take a charge from Chaos Knights?
Probably
it's like
not.
the absolute pinnacle of the hardest hitting unit. So lots of people very keen to include this unit in their army if you've got a Chaos Force. So almost never see a Chaos army without a unit of Chaos Knights. They're just so effective.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
And then
so
the
sick.
force is led by some champions of chaos. You have one on foot and one on
Oh,
horse. This one
look
here
at
you
this
see is modeled
man.
as a battle standard bearer. The kit contains enough options that you can swap around the things. So in a moment, as we see the screen progress, you'll
That's
see
really
some of the things
cool.
you can do. It also has a chaos champion on a demonic mount. This is my favorite model in the set. It is beautiful and is a really
That's
iconic
really
image.
pretty.
I think it looks like the artwork
I also want to get some
of
of these
Chaos
just to
Warriors from
paint.
some of those old Warhammer Fantasy
Yeah.
army books. And the miniatures have finally got to the point where they can
It's like,
capture
do I have my
like
old
the thing that you sort of imagined that
should have
Chaos
my old
Warriors, what
art
you wanted
that
them
I
to
have
look
of the old
like
Chaos
all those
Warriors.
years ago. It's just such a cool kit. I love the standard bearer
Yeah.
as well. I think this champion kit is one of the best sort of hero kits that Warhammer has yet released.
Yeah, I don't have a Chaos Army for Warhammer. I never have, but I would really like to get my hands on that model.
Never
I think it
have,
just
never
works
will.
beautifully. So
basically what
let's
he
talk for a little
said.
bit about that
Never had a
box.
Chaos
It's
army.
a
Never will.
two-player
Hate 'em.
core box
Stupid
for
chaos.
Warhammer the Old World. It's essentially what you need to start playing Warhammer the Old World if you haven't before. It's an enormous box. It contains the armies. It also contains the rule book
Dang it.
and a muster list.
Dang
the rule
it,
book
man.
is the
They
same
got us.
rules
They got
as you
us.
currently use for
I
Warhammer
also
the
like
Old
that
World.
the
So if
horses
you're
are fluffy.
sat there worrying that this is going to change the rules that you're playing with,
I
it won't.
completely agree.
The difference really with this rule book and the rule book you already have if you're already playing the Old World
It also
is
makes
that
me
the
go, I
erratas
think
and
we
things
might
that
need to
exist
get
online
this box
are
at some
woven
point
into
because
this. So
oh
that should
no,
make life a
two
little
You can
easier.
read
armies
just
start
this book.
playing
You don't need to
Old
worry
World
about
and
any
one
of the
of them's
documents.
chaos.
Exactly.
Just
And then further to
We
that,
know-
it has an
we know
additional
what I
section
want.
called Battle March. We'll talk more about that in a little
I
while.
saw another miniature when we were showing off some of that
Yeah,
Chaos
we'll
stuff.
just talk about the muster list before we
Oh.
go. Muster list is the rules for the models that are in the box. There you go. This is how to play Warhammer all in one handy box, and is very exciting and continues the thing that we know and love. Now,
Let's talk dragons, Adam.
yeah, let's talk dragons. We're all
Dragons.
very excited. This might be my favorite thing in the entire preview.
I was gonna
It is
say,
such
those
a
cafes
show-stopping
are
model.
pretty nice.
This
We've
is
been
the
looking at
Warriors
those
of Chaos,
cafes
Lord
since
on Chaos
when they had
Dragons,
their own
and there's so
box.
much to talk about. Eddie?
You just get the sense of the size of it just from that shot
So-
where it was already taller than the 3-story building
Yeah,
that's
no
right behind
kidding.
it.
Doesn't
It is an
come in the box,
absolutely
though.
enormous, phenomenally cool miniature for Warhammer the Old World.
Which
I
is
think probably
fair,
the biggest
I
monster
guess.
we've had released yet.
It's got to be right up there, and there have been some fantastic kits since
John,
Warhammer the
think
Old
this is
World
the biggest
launched.
monster?
There's things to talk about. The first, I want to just
You've
wax lyrical
appealed
on
to
how
me, which
cool
is just
Chaos
big,
Dragons
big
are.
ones.
We've seen
I
this
want big,
image before
make
of
it
Chaos
bigger,
Dragons with two
taller.
heads. There used to
I
be
want
a
it to be the
a-
size
like
of
a
an
special
entire
character
shell.
Chaos
Yeah,
Dragon.
Garak the Chaos Dragon, which was the kind of one that had eaten the Lord of Change, and then before that you had Von Horstmann,
That's right.
who
yeah.
was the kind of former College of Magic in the Empire
There you
character
go.
who was
I'm
on
sure
a
for
two-headed
some
Tzeentchian
people,
dragon.
these
But
games
that's a
mean
long time
lot,
ago.
but it's
We've
the
never
same
had a
thing. How many
plastic
golden
version of it.
diamond
A
entries
plastic
will use
two-headed
as
Chaos
well?
Dragon has been a long time coming, and I think
That's
even
the
though
good
we've waited
question. How many
decades for it,
finalists
this is
will
worth the
use
wait.
this
This is a
model? 'Cause
really cool model.
It's
I mean,
also what we
entries,
sometimes call a
you
two for kit
can't
in that
even
you
count
can
how many
make a
entries.
different option with it. So
I'd be
you've
doing
seen the
that.
Chaos
Oh, look
Lord.
at that!
This is a
Sorcerer
Sorcerer
Lord
Lord.
on it.
And there's some differences. The first is the Rider, obviously. He's
Yeah.
now a hunched and wizened Chaos Sorcerer, which is a powerful unit in its own right. It can be up to a level 4 wizard.
He's on
He's not
a
bad in
big
a fight.
dragon
He's
horse.
backed up by a two-headed Chaos Dragon. Everything you would
Yeah,
want
you're not going to
enjoy.
kill him with a light cavalry unit. are you?
No, absolutely
No,
not.
I think you got it.
Additionally, there's some slight differences with the dragon itself. You'll notice that this one has sort of different frills and things. So
that's
if
fine.
you wanted two dragons, you can have different riders on them, and they would look a bit different. And then with a little bit of sort of paint magic, what you've got is two very
Honestly,
striking,
if I did
different
have
looking
like
chaos
an
dragons in your
exalted
army.
chaos force,
Very exciting centerpiece
I
model.
would run two chaos dragons and have
images
one of them
that
be
the
the
video
sorcerer
team
and
have put
one be
together
the
here
Lord,
capture
and
its
they
majesty.
talk to each other
It's
like
possibly
that. Like they
even
talk
better
to
in the
That's
flesh,
how
and
they
we have
talk
it
to
on
each
the
other
desk
on the
here.
dragons.
So you can see
fly
it
up,
looming over
yeah,
some of these new
being,
Chaos
like, on
Warrior
Zoom.
models.
Yeah,
with
one
some
of the things we
shit.
haven't mentioned as well is
Oh,
just
it looks
next
so
to the Chaos
good.
Dragon, just below it here, whichever one you don't build. So if you build the Chaos Lord on the dragon, you get a Chaos Sorcerer Lord on foot, and if you build the Sorcerer Lord on
okay.
the dragon, you get a Chaos Lord on foot. So whatever way you build this, you get basically 2 very powerful.
Yeah, so this is
hero
the
miniatures.
Sorcerer Lord that you would get
That's
if you
really
built it with the
nice.
Chaos Lord, and then this is the Chaos Lord on foot if you built
Yep.
it with the Sorcerer. So, oh crikey, always
That's
worried I'm going
really
to destroy a
nice.
heavy metal model live on video. Really a great kit. You can see all the other things in
Just
front
the
of us
size
as
of
well.
it as well. I
Yeah.
mean, these are big models, right? The Chaos Knights are not small cavalry models, and this is about 4 times the height of them. So it's a big old beast, and also just
pretty massive.
phenomenally good in the game as well, right? Like a Chaos Lord on a 2-headed Chaos Dragon is up there with the very best units in all of Warhammer: The Old World. There's almost nothing that can go toe to toe.
I just want to, before we move on from Chaos Warriors, have a look at the back of the Chaos Champion on horse. You can see all of this
Like, did
amazing extra
somebody- did
detail. He's got
somebody
like
just leave the
fur
stream to
under
go
his
start
saddle. He's
playing
got like heads
Darktide?
hanging from chains. Like the detail on these models is just wild.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's
I know
worth
what
calling
you're
out actually
doing.
about these Chaos Warriors particularly is that these are Chaos Warriors designed for Warhammer: The Old World, so they're meant to look like the logical extension of the kind of Marauder
Absolutely.
archetype.
They're very
So-
much sort of the sort of chaos armored
Yeah.
barbarians from the
So
north.
there's still a
descending
little
on-
bit of that kind of like barbarian raider vibe to them. They've got the look of someone who's kind of walked out of the Arctic North of the Warhammer world.
Mhm.
So
just
that
is
they
about to ransack the old world.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you've got to love it.
The most
Right.
exciting part about the
Obviously,
stream when I
alongside
show
the
up.
new core box, people might want to get their hands on some other things that would be useful. So here you can see common magic items and laws of magic. These are cards which enable you to do quick reference as you're playing
Hell
your
yeah,
games.
magic
Which can be
item.
very useful. They're not
Fireball,
required,
fireball,
obviously, the
fireball,
rules for
like,
these things are just
yes.
inside the book.
Let me
There's
play
also another
Magic
thing that
inside-
we said we would
Honestly,
talk about a little bit. This is Battle March,
would
the
love
General's
to play
Companion. Now,
Warhammer
Battle
Old World
March
and
is a
Magic at the
new
same
way
time.
to play games of Warhammer: The
Probably
Old
wanna
World.
die, but it
The
sounds
way
fun.
this works is that you build smaller
Okay.
forces, not unlike
Oh!
Spearhead or Combat Patrol, between 400 and 700 points, and then you unleash them in games that are quicker to play and more straightforward. There's some rules in this companion which sort of detail how
Abaddon
you
and a
make your
Chaos
force, so
Dragon?
there's some limitations
That's
on
a
what you
very
can and
good
can't take, and
question.
some requirements,
And the
and
answer
then
is
there's different
yes.
scenarios to play. The
I
rules for Battle
wonder
March are in the new rulebook,
if he might
and
be
there's
too big though.
those rules
You might have
and
to do
more
a lot of work on
information
that,
and more
but
scenarios and ways to
that'd be
play
really
are
fun to
found
put
inside this
a
Battle
traitor
March General's Companion.
commissar
So
on
whichever
a
one you want
Chaos
to take
Dragon
as your
too.
option in, you can start playing,
They
I
should
don't know,
be
like
big and
lunchtime
thick
leagues
with
or maybe
armor.
like a
They should
campaign
work.
across a weekend of like quick turnaround games.
Or if you've just started an army for the
if
first time and
Abaddon
maybe haven't got
doesn't
enough to
work,
play a full-size game,
Huron
you can still play with
definitely
a smaller force.
Yes. Now, to help you with that, they are releasing the first of our Battle March armies. So this is the Warriors of Chaos and Grand Cathay Battle March armies, and they contain a variety of units deliberately designed to give you a good Battle March experience. And you could totally add these to the
Release
new
the
box,
boxes
and
of
then you
these
have
two
nice
cool
big
armies
armies. If
that
you
we
want
can
to
Yeah,
really
we were
sick.
talking about if you
Chaos
add
Dragons
either
for
of these
me.
boxes onto
And also on
your,
top of
the
it,
new
you've made a
sets coming out
combat
with the Warriors of Chaos and the
style
Army of Grand
game for
Cathay,
Old World.
and then you add something like a,
Sounds like
a
what I would
monster,
wanna
like a two-headed
play.
dragon,
Yeah, or a
you've
Cathayan dragon,
or a
perhaps,
Cathayan
yeah.
dragon, you've pretty much got an army ready to go.
Yeah.
These are really lovely places
Who
to
wants to
start
play
a force,
in-person
or
Total War
just a really
now?
good way to bolt on loads of troops onto an army.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love playing Total
There's
War in
also more
person
coming
now.
for the Old World. This is the Arcane Journal, the March of Chaos.
Nice.
This continues the narrative that we're seeing unfold in the Old World at the moment. The Chainbreaker, this Chaos Lord, is descending from the north with an enormous throng. They're ploughing through the northern provinces of the Empire. Even the forces of Grand Cathay have been called in, volunteered themselves to come in and try and stave off this invasion, and it's a grim affair. Magic is being fired around everywhere.
You
So
could
that
say
card
a
deck
grim
is for
dark
magic
affair?
ploys, which the winds of magic are
Please
blowing
don't
so
hit me, I'm
furiously that there's
sorry.
loads of different magic escapades and things to get on with. It's a really good time to be playing Warhammer Old World right now.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the narrative
And-
they're kind of weaving as well about all these different invasions leading up to a big war. Some
I
would say a
do
great
enjoy
Yeah,
these
no
reveal
kidding.
shows.
Oh, I like that. That was
'cause
good.
It's the only
Deep
info
cut
I
if
get
you
on
know your
Old World
Warhammer history.
besides one of my
So,
buddies who plays.
Slight segue. It's not quite
Need to
the Old
text him
World,
back. Oh
but
my
it's
God, I
very
forgot
similar.
about
Let's
that.
talk about Blood Bowl for a minute.
Hey, Blood
is,
Bowl!
the
All
game of fantasy
right.
football, and there is some really exciting things to show with the
Exciting.
release of the new Spike Journal. This is Spike Journal 22. Blood Bowl
Okay.
Sevens is the theme. What's Blood Bowl Sevens? I hear you ask. Well, I'm
What's
glad
Blood Bowl
you did.
7, Adam?
There you go. Perfect. Blood Bowl Sevens is essentially a
this
way
like
of
an
playing
add-on?
Blood Bowl, which is akin to like rugby sevens or five-a-side football. So you're compacting your team. You're playing faster games on a smaller pitch. It's very frenetic. It really changes quite a lot of the tactics and the ways that you would play, and makes for a entirely
know that was
different and
possible.
very fun experience. You get
I
4
like
of your
that.
positionals in this game, so you've got quite a lot of skills and things on the tabletop, and it's just a lot of fun. I'm excited for this. But I'm even more excited for what we're about to show you, which is some
Oh, it's new
fantastic new Blood
Skaven.
Bowl
Oh, you gotta be
miniatures.
kidding
The
me.
first of which is a new big one available for several teams. This is the Rat Ogre.
I love this model.
Well,
I think the
guess
thing
I'm
that I
picking that
most
up.
love about it is if you look at his shoulder, he has a little rat with a piece of cheese and a flag on his tail.
That is beautiful, but is it better or as good as a rat wearing a gas mask and carrying a lump of warp stone?
It's very close, and I think you'll have to make
No,
that
the
decision for
cheese is
yourself
better.
when you
Tiebreak.
get hold of your own
Cheese
rat
is
ogre. I think the
better.
cheese
Could
takes
build
it.
your rat ogre without either of those rats, but boo.
I mean, you could if
Yeah,
you wanted to,
boo.
but
Why
have a
would you
rat on
ever
his
do
shoulder.
that?
Yes, you
Yeah,
could do
cool
that.
The
guy.
funny thing is,
Does anyone want that?
this is also a great model, but if you're not taking one of the rats, I think you've gone mad. This is available for a number of teams. Obviously, you can use it in the Skaven team, but also the Underworld Denizens and the Chaos Renegade teams. If you want some real muscle to go in there and just clobber the enemy, break the enemy line so that your
I think I gotta go
team
buy
can run
Skaven
through.
You've
and
got
score
some
goals.
mutation options in there as well.
Yeah,
I can see.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, look at those
Speaking of big ones,
mutations.
there's another one on the way. This is a Minotaur.
Or Minotaur.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
absolutely. This is another one of those iconic heavy
Not him
hitting Blood
correcting
Bowl
his
units, and it's again
pronunciation on
available
stream.
for a variety of Blood Bowl teams. You can use it in the Chaos Chosen, you can use it in the Chaos Dwarf list, you can use it in the Chaos Renegade teams. And here you can see the different ways you can build it to fit more in with the teams that you're used to using.
Yeah, so this one here on the screen at the moment, rather than hands or even hooves, has got kind of scorpion
Why
claws.
catch the ball, right?
Yeah, he's not going to do much catching, but he might do even better clobbering than a regular Minotaur.
Yeah, no kidding. Now, those are wonderful. The thing I'm most excited about, not just for this Blood Bowl reveal, but maybe in all of Blood Bowl, is our next
He
reveal.
is your favorite, Adam.
Morgenthau is my favorite thing about Blood Bowl.
Yo!
I absolutely love him. He's been an
What is
iconic
that?
character from right from the start. There is a new multi-part plastic Morgenthau model coming, and he is wonderful. The kit enables you to make him in one of three very iconic designs. Here you can see the Reichland Reavers one, which really sort of connects to that iconic artwork that we were used to seeing with Morg. Here is another version. This is him in his gouged eye motif when he played for an orc team, and you can see like the orc charms and things around his neck. This is for the Chaos All Stars when he played with that team. That was his first ever team. You see, he's still got hair.
You can see he's also got each of the Chaos Gods icons on his little chain around his neck as well, which is really cool.
He's got all
Absolutely
the
love it.
different Chaos
If you
God
are
icons
unfamiliar
on
with
there.
Blood
That's
Bowl
super
or Morg
neat.
in particular, let me just tell you, he is genuinely
We're
one
now
of
streaming
the
live
Adam,
on
can you
Instagram
take him in a
as well, so
halfling
this is
team?
really
You
weird.
can,
I got,
and I
like,
have
different
used him to
angles.
lead my halflings to
Sorry,
almost
Instagram.
glory.
Almost
You'll
glory.
never, you won't see what's happening
He's
on
so
the
good.
screen. But
He
you can
hits like a
watch
freight
along
train.
and
He's
hang
really
out.
heavily armored. He's got great skills, mighty blow, loads of armor, everything you could possibly want, and he costs a load of points. His halflings are really cheap. So
Can he throw halflings?
He can throw a halfling. In
He can
fact,
throw
my
halflings,
halfling,
which is
my
insane.
favorite halfling, Captain Colin Head, scored many a touchdown or nearly died as he would be lobbed down the pitch. I could talk about Morg for far too long. He's coming soon. I'm very excited. Please let me have one. Let's look at the
That's really
models.
cool.
Okay,
I gave
so
you all the models.
there we go.
Subscribe
These are the
about
beautiful
these.
heavy metal painted
I love
models,
this
and
Slanesh
here you can see
Minotaur.
what they look like. So going sort of from this side onwards, this is Morg. Were you to build him in that sort of gouged eye look, and you see his armor looks like the sort of armor that Black Orcs wear.
Yeah, so you got different
was
armor,
gonna say,
different
I'm not
heads,
from,
different
like,
chest
that old
plates.
world.
You've got a bunch of different options.
Yeah, and then this is
Coming
Morg
for
with the Reichland
Slanesh's
Reavers
brand,
uniform,
of
and
course.
then
From I think the
Everybody's
first
gotta
edition
come
of
for
Blood
our
Bowl,
oh yeah,
or
a
was it
number,
second?
of them really. I think he's appeared on a couple of covers, and then if you wanted to do him as Chaos All Stars, you use this one. But ultimately, build your Morg how you want, and just go and clobber the enemy and score some touchdowns.
There you go.
We have the other models on the table as well. You can see the Minotaur, a Rat Ogre, and then another Minotaur. These are all hulking
him so you
models.
get a
They
really good
tower
shot
above
of
the
that.
average lineman.
Right with the cheese there.
There you go. That's the real star. Of the
She's
show,
the
right?
star, yeah.
Perfect. So there we go. A good time for Blood Bowl. 3 amazing new big characters coming your way. A new way to play Blood Bowl in the New Spike Journal. I'm very excited about this. And we are nowhere near done with this preview.
Let's keep going.
Right.
Better-
Why don't we
better not
go
be done.
to the Age
I
of
need more
Darkness?
40K. Hey, more custodians. Ooh, a new crab tank. And you can bring these guys in both. That's nice. Oh no, I don't like that. That's scary. Oh, new bike! Oh, the new bikes are so cool.
Welcome back. We have really excited to talk now about the Adeptus Custodes or Legio Custodes.
Well,
Which one is it, Eddie?
It's both, Adam, because
Perfect.
the new box set that's on its way is a reinforcement set for the Custodes, and you can use it for either
Oh, look,
Warhammer
they
the
put
Horus
the big
Heresy
40K
or
on it.
Warhammer 40,000. And just in case you didn't believe us, we put the logos on the box.
It couldn't be
there's
clearer.
no teasing. You can absolutely
Finally.
use this for either game system. There are
That's
6 models in this box, which doesn't sound like a lot, but
Until
when
you
you
realize how big they
until
are.
you look at the models, which are huge and awesome. So let's start with the fastest unit in that box.
Yeah, these are the Falcon jet bikes, an iconic unit from the Legio Custodes Force. They are fast-moving, hard-hitting, heavily armed and armored
Those
units,
bikes
which are
look
designed to storm in and
amazing.
break the back of enemy forces.
I'm
Each custodian is
such a
armed
big fan of this
like
look.
to the teeth. There's loads of things to talk about here. The first thing would be to mention that there's different guns that come on these models. Essentially, you have
Looks
a
like they've
choice
got
of the
some las
Adratic
cannons.
Devastator,
Oh,
Arachnus
no.
Volley Gun, Twin Corvée Pulse Laser. That's the over and under one. You can see it looks a bit like an over and under shotgun. And then you also have the Lastrum Bolt Cannon. So loads of different weapons to do loads
I
of different
love
jobs.
this
Yeah.
design.
So
of
one of the
that
things
cockpit.
in a Custodes army, obviously, is
Where
you
they've
haven't got a
all
lot
the
of units because
panels
they tend to
coming
cost a
up
lot of
the
points.
left-hand
So you might find that
side.
you've got a couple of things that your army's not very
I
good
love
at
the
killing.
helmet,
And one of the
too,
things
with
that
the
units like
little,
this can do with loads of
hair.
different options is you go, actually, I
Right.
really need some help to kill monsters or infantry or something. So you can kit these out with almost a gun for almost any occasion, right?
Absolutely.
You can have different guns across the unit, or you can actually go, I just want them all to be really good at killing vehicles, give them the,
So
the
now
best
where's
things to
the
kill in the
EC
specific vehicle, I
Vipers?
think, that I'm weakest into.
Yeah,
That's
all
what
of
I
them
want.
also
I
have
want
a
my
Solarite
Emperor's
Power
Children's
Lance, which is a
Bikers. God
formidable
dang
power
it.
weapon,
It is
especially on the chart.
enormous. The Solarite Lance, it's about 3 times the
I
length of a Space
love
Marine.
that
Yeah.
the
I reckon you
lance
could kebab about
has a
5
holster.
Space Marines on that thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can just
So
put the
there's 4
Lancer
of these
attached to
inside
the
the set, which
bike,
is a
and he's, like,
brilliant
driving it,
unit
but he
to
still
go
has
spearheading
it.
around the battlefield and just bring pain to the enemy. It's not the only thing that moves fast in this box. We also have the Palace Gravatac.
The Palace Gravatac is a fast-moving skimmer for the Custodes. You can kit it out with either anti-infantry or anti-vehicle stuff. It works a little bit like a land speed is probably the way to think about it, and it's very useful for Custodes because you tend to have a lot of very expensive models, so you don't have very many small units. So this can zip around the battlefield,
This is
taking
very cool.
objectives, getting the enemy where they're hiding in a way that your infantry are very good
I
at holding
am a
ground,
very
but
big
not very
fan
good
of
at kind of
this.
chasing stuff down.
Yeah, and this is another one of those units you can use to sort of cater for where you think you might need additional strength. Has 2 weapons to choose from: the twin Arachnus Blaze Cannon or the twin Iliastus Accelerator Fusel. Say those in a hurry, so you can tailor your palace to deal with particular threats.
But I think
Welcome.
the model, the
Welcome to
showstopper
the
of this
stream. You
box
came in at the
is
right
undoubtedly
time
the
to talk
Telamon
about
Dreadnought.
Custodes.
This is a
Oh!
brand new multi-part plastic kit,
Look at the
a
tassels.
reinvention of the resin version, or the already
That's
very
really
nice
nice.
resin version of the Telamon Dreadnought,
Ooh, look at
but
that
in
gun.
glorious multi-part plastic, keeping all the posability with even more detail and even more weapon options.
Yeah, speaking of weapon options, I'll walk you through them. Between its shoulder blades, you can see the
That's new.
Spiculus missile launcher, but there are other
Heck
weapon
yeah.
options too. Here you can see the Iliastus
Thanks for
Accelerator
joining the
Culverin,
stream.
the Adratic Devastator, and the Arachnus
Okay.
Storm Cannon.
Whoa!
On his other hand, so you can build those as you will, choose the one that suits your loadout. On the other
I don't
hand,
like that.
you have the
I don't like
Kestus.
that. That's
That's
scary.
essentially fancy Legio
Those are really
Custodes
cool.
terms for Power Fist with twin Neutronium Cascade Projector. So it's
Yeah.
a bit like a
What does that
flamethrower, but
mean?
with neutroniums.
Absolutely, Neutronian's more deadly than flame, apparently.
Gotta
So there
be,
you go.
right?
Okay.
One of those
We've got a
guns is, of
flamer
course, new.
hand.
The one that's currently equipped. The name escapes me. Sorry. The
Oh, I think you are
Look at that
talking
tube
about the
going into his
Iliastus
chest.
Accelerator Culverin.
exactly that one. And this is just a really beautiful kit, right? So you could paint this up very quickly if you wanted to, like a gold spray, and then a wash would make it look beautiful. But equally, if you wanted to take your time over all the detail of this, it is absolutely dripping in detail, more detail even than was on some of those resin versions of this when it came out. We
Yeah,
have
the
one on the
details of this is
table,
amazing.
and we brought along some other dreadnoughts, so you could
Mhm.
sort of see how it scales up.
Oh my
do you
god,
want
he's
to
almost
Yeah,
as
I'll go
big
first.
as a
This Telamon Dreadnought
Saturn.
is ever
That's
so slightly
crazy.
larger than the resin one. So we brought a Leviathan
Do
Dreadnought.
you remember when you saw a Leviathan for the first time and thought, you're never going to think
Nothing could ever be
Yeah,
cooler than a
absolutely.
Leviathan Dreadnought, and he's still pretty cool. I like
Yeah,
Leviathans a
absolutely.
lot.
I can't believe how
But,
much bigger that is.
The
compared
Telamon Dreadnought
to,
stands a good
a
head above
Leviathan.
the
Like-
even the Leviathan.
And with
Actually, let me pull
last
my
summer's release,
Leviathan out.
lots of people may have got their hands on a Saturnine Dreadnought, and here you can see
So, like,
there's some similarity between these
Right.
two in terms of the shape of the shoulder pads
that's
and
the
things.
size of my.
The Telamon is a little
Dreadnought.
taller. The,
Oh my god, yeah. Bjorn,
Saturnine
thank you, Emma.
is
That's a
little
great
bit
one.
broader.
Bjorn?
Yeah, absolutely. So this one definitely is got more mass to it. Like
Mm-hmm.
the weight of it looks heavy, but the Telamon
like-
stands ever so slightly taller, which might just
With
be
Bjorn.
the Custodes didn't want to kind of ever.
Could
look
you
up at
imagine
Space
how
Marine. It's probably
small
pointless,
that's
isn't it?
next
Why not?
to the
I like it.
Custodes one?
So all of these models that we've talked about, so the Falcon jet bikes, the Palace Gravatac, and the Telamon Dreadnought will be available in plastic for the first time as part of this box set. and
It
then
looks like the
available
Talamon
separately.
might be
later down
around the
Yeah,
same
absolutely.
size
And you can use them-
as
definitely
the,
use them
Redemptor.
for both
So
Warhammer
maybe a
40,000
little bit bigger
and
than the
Warhammer
Redemptor.
You absolutely
but a
can.
little bit
One of the
smaller.
new detachments
'Cause
for
the
the
Redemptor's
Custodies
a
in
little
Warhammer
smaller.
40,000 has some specific upgrades for Talamon Dreadnoughts as well.
Mhm.
So there is.
Great, nice.
Here he
So
is. We got him.
that's not everything for
Congratulations.
the Age of Darkness. We also have a new General Tactica on the way. This is General Tactica Prospero Burns, the Judgment of Valdor. And this deals with the actions of Constantine Valdor and the Legio Custodes during the burning of Prospero, when they joined forces with the Space Wolves to bring judgment
That's
to
gonna
Magnus
be
and his
cool.
errant sons.
That is.
Yeah,
gonna
we
be
know quite a
really
lot
cool.
about the burning of Prospero. We've seen it from the Thousand Suns perspective. We've seen it from the Space Wolves perspective. We know that the Custodes were there, but we haven't really heard much about what the Custodes were up to. And this explores that. You kind of find out
Who's with
what
me
they
on
were
making
doing
a
while the two
giant,
legions were taking chunks out of each other. One of the things
Battle
that's
of
quite cool about
Prospero.
it is that
I know
the
I got
Custodes
my
obviously on one
Custodes.
side. On the other side,
Custodes,
there are
man,
some
I'm
Thousand
doing the
Suns, but
Space
the
Wolves.
main
You
antagonist
just
really
need
for them is
Thousand
a
Sons to
demonic
beat up.
foe.
Yeah, absolutely. For the first time, this presents for this edition a full army list for the Demons of Siege, including new psychic disciplines. So you can start using the warp denizens of the patron who is presiding over the ruin of the Thousand Suns.
And you can also play as
Salvation,
only
possibly.
No, it's absolutely
demons.
not. They haven't
there
come in.
too?
It's what they deserve.
Yeah.
There's even more
So
stuff in there than we've
now
talked about here. There's
demons are in
some
3 games
new
instead.
rules for the Solar Auxilia. There's a whole bunch of stuff. This is a packed
Oh,
General
Solar
Tactica,
Auxilia.
which
I
really
know somebody
shines a
who's
light on an
excited about
area
that.
of the Horus Heresy we've not looked at before. So it's quite
Yeah,
exciting.
and that's the best kind of Horus Heresy games. Ones where you're going back to those iconic moments in the lore and refighting it. Like, what if it was a little bit different? What if we had a slightly different mix? What if the tactics were different?
Yeah, absolutely.
Recreating those amazing stories is what it's all about.
So, sticking with the Age of Darkness, but going a bit smaller as we look at some Legions Imperialis.
Or possibly bigger.
But yes, bigger and smaller at the same
Wow.
time. We have 3 models we're going to talk about now. These
big
are
gun. Wow, that's a
models
cool
for the
gun.
Titan Legions. This is the Warlord Battle Titan with Quake Cannon and Conversion Beam Extirpator to extirpate means to destroy
Nice.
utterly. And that is what the weapon loadout on this Warlord Titan will do. As you see this video playing before you, you can see what all
That's
the different weapons
crazy.
are. There's a whole bunch, and they have really long and difficult.
Ooh,
to
look at
say
that
live
head
on-air
option that
names,
they have for
such
that
as
one.
But you
the
should still
Conversion
try,
Beam
I think.
Extirpator.
More similar to like
Um,
old Hammer
so,
kind of designs,
this
like
is
that old
a
90s, like
kit which will come
I love those
packaged
designs.
all
Those are
together,
so
so you get the Warlord
interesting.
Titan and all of these weapons. It includes some extra bits and pieces. So there's some guns to go on the turrets. You've got Gatling blasters and turbo laser destructors. You have 2 Warlord
Nice.
heads inside the kit, and it also contains all the cards you would need to use this if you were playing Adeptus Titanicus.
Nice.
Good, I would hope
If you
so.
just want the weapons,
I
they'll
would
be
hope
available
so.
separately. You just won't get all the cards with it and stuff like that. Cool. This is one of 3 things we're going to talk about. The next one is the Warlord Battle Titan with Volkite Destructor and Macro Gatling Blaster. Again, not a
All
thing
right,
to
guys.
say too quickly on
Get
a
your
Friday
phones
night.
out. This is the
Here
time
is
to
another
hang out.
towering
that thing looks
god
cool.
engine of the Legio
Oh, look
Titan
at the
Legions.
little- look at the
It
little
has a
barrels.
whole bunch of different weapons which
That's
you can see
really
playing
cool.
out on your screen. They include the Graviton Ruinator, which you can see here. It's the biggest Graviton gun I've ever seen. Volkite Destructor, Macro Gatling Blaster, and the Vulcan Mega Bolter Array, which sits on its shoulders. It also includes a Warlord Titan heads and those cards I mentioned before if you wanted to play Adeptus Titanicus.
But Adam, what
I'm
if I
very
had a
good
slightly
that-
smaller
I'm very
Titan
glad
but
that
still
this
wanted loads
game
of
is
massive
not
guns?
dead.
and complicated names,
I
then
heard
you are going to be
rumors of it
fine because
dying.
this is the Titan Legions Reaver Titan with Graviton Obliterator and Volkite Annihilator, a mid-sized Titan that packs an incredible punch with weapons such as the aforementioned Graviton Obliterator,
All right, guys,
the Volkite
here you go.
Annihilator. It also
Plastic
has
Warhound
a
Titan.
Vulcan Mega Bolter option for its
This is where it's
carapace,
coming from.
and you just saw it there.
I'm just
My
kidding.
favorite,
I
possibly, of all the
probably
names that we've had
got
this
some
evening,
people
which is the
mad.
Conversion Beam Dissolutor.
Those are some cool guns and some great verbs.
Yeah, it also has a Reaver head and the cards you would need to play in Adeptus Titanicus. And you can get the weapon separately should you desire no more Titans. What's wrong with you? There we go. Pretty exciting should you play Little Heresy.
Absolutely.
There we go.
Little Heresy.
I need to take a breather. Now might be the time to talk a little bit about something coming to Warhammer Plus very soon. There is a new animation. Look at the Butcher's
Ooh.
Nails.
Yeah, all right. Space Marine in the Astartes style. I see that we've got, what is it, the claw pod, the dread claw. I hope that comes back. Ooh! Very nice. August 2026.
That looks a bit good, Eddie. What can you tell us about Butcher's Nails?
Yeah, this
Doing
is a
EC
new
one
animation
next.
coming to Warhammer TV for Warhammer Plus subscribers. It is a one-off standalone episode, so it's a hammer and bolter episode of Warhammer
Nice.
40,000. And effectively, it tells the story of a Khorne berserker who is part of a chaos assault on an Imperial stronghold. As you would imagine for a World Eater story, it is incredibly violent. It is by some margin the bloodiest and
I would
most
hope so.
violent piece of Warhammer animation we have yet featured on Warhammer TV.
That's
And it is
actually
pretty much
crazy.
non-stop carnage from the moment that
This
the
image is
shots open
insane.
to the final battles.
Fantastic. Here you can see a shot
This
that we
is what
saw
a
something like this in the
first-person,
trailer. This looks like the
Chaos
head-up
Marine
display
game should
inside the
look
helmet
like.
of the World Eater.
Yeah, so not all of it, but some of the animation is shown from the literal perspective of the World Eater, who is obviously
love
a little
this.
bit unhinged.
That's
The butcher's
amazing.
nails are starting to bite. If he doesn't get continuous kills and carnage, he starts to go kind of slowly insane. And he basically is chopping his way through as many enemies as he can find, partly to try and achieve victory, but mostly just to try and make the whining of the nails cease even for the briefest of moments.
Fantastic. And we got a sense of who is fighting, but what's the battle between who?
I mean,
who
he
the protagonist-
almost really he doesn't really mind what the
Any-
battle is
anybody
really.
can. I
Khorne
don't
doesn't
care.
care as long as the blood flows. There are definitely some Astra Militarum. There's some guardsmen, some unfortunate guardsmen who have to stand up against the Khorne
and
berserker.
Space Marines of the Imperial
There are
Fist,
some Space Marines of the Imperial Fist. There's some other Chaos Space Marines in the mix
who I'm sure
as well.
don't get in the way
They'll
at
get
all.
on fine, I'm sure.
Lovely.
You know, it's not like they're known for betrayal. Or
Other
anything at all.
Space Marines.
But
Fantastic.
yes, it's
Emperor's
going to be a
children. Come on, give it to me.
non-stop action carnage fest. It's a really
So
fun
excited.
animation.
Perfect. And coming
That
out
looks
fairly
so
soon.
cool.
It comes out in August.
Awesome. That's very exciting.
Not
So
soon
from
enough.
the
No, I'm just
Butcher's
kidding.
Nails and Warhammer Plus, let's
We're
go
almost
to
there.
the Mortal Realms for something more.
The
Sigmar.
maw opens.
All right.
Hungering predator. Sun Eater. The gulping god.
That guy got goose.
I see his
This is
will in the meat, in the marrow, in the blood. He is the hunger that endures.
I love all the
through
blood that
winter
they have
and
on
more.
those intestines and heart look insane.
calls
I'm
us
taking
to
these for
feast.
chaos stuff.
To swallow the realms. Eat. 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 First we're gonna beat 'em, then we're gonna eat 'em. First we're gonna beat 'em, then we're gonna eat 'em. First we're gonna beat 'em, then we're gonna eat 'em. First we're gonna beat 'em, then we're gonna eat 'em.
I really
His
enjoyed that.
champion comes.
That was very
Who is
exciting
that?
to see
Elephant
such
Man?
A large amount of models coming soon to the Mortal Realms with these new Ogre Maw tribes. Eddie, where do we
Holy
even start?
crap.
I am super excited about this release. This is an enormous range refresh for the Ogre Maw tribes.
That's
There's so much to talk
crazy.
about. I think let's start with the army set, which is coming out. This is the first place you'll get a chance to get your hands on some of the new miniatures. This is an enormous army launch set,
They
a little
look
bit like what we've
great.
seen with some of the armies
Love
Yeah,
recently.
like
that
Hellspace
song.
as
Like,
well.
exactly like
That
the
was
Hellspace, same
so
sort of concept.
creepy.
You get a cool version of the battle tome and the first chance to get hold of a bunch of the miniatures. Let's have a quick chat about some of the stuff in this set.
Sure. So first out the gates would be sort of the mainstay unit for the Ogre Maw tribes. These are the Gluttons, the sort of replacement or refresh of what in old days you might have called Ogre Bulls. And boy, do they look
Okay.
good.
Yeah, the Ogre
Man,
Bulls
the
are
texture of
still
their
really
skin
cool
looks
models. Like,
Yeah,
but they
incredible
are
at that.
they've been around for a while now. They're more than 20 years
You
old.
shocked me
Like,
there
I'm
when I
sorry
realized
about
how
that.
old I
Like
was.
skin.
So
Like,
they
that's
are well
really
and truly
wild how
deserving
well
of a
done that
refresh.
skin
This
is.
is a really cool update for them. They still keep the kind of general aesthetic of the Ogre Bulls, but they're much more dynamic. They're a little bit bigger. The armor plates are much more impressive.
I
They
really like the shape of the helmets. They look like they're designed to deflect sort of downward
yeah,
blows
and
away
if you
from the
remember, like
shoulders as well.
the first time those models came out, they were designed for Warhammer Fantasy, where they'd have to rank up. So actually, the poses were quite sort of
Yeah,
limiting on a
very
lot of the
dynamic
miniatures.
here, aren't they?
These are much like cooler, more impressive poses. Even things like having those arms out, they just look really great. The detail on them is obviously
great.
20 years on from the last time we saw the Ogre Bulls. So these are really
Man,
cool
20
miniatures. You get 10 of
20
these in
years
that
for
launch
this
box.
refresh.
This is only the most
Good
basic
for the ogre
of the Ogre Maw
guys.
tribes
Fantastic.
units.
Do you play
Let's move on
ogres
to
out there?
I think might be
The
one of
two
my
people
favorites.
watching?
Yeah, so mine too. I think
I
the,
hope you
the
enjoy
Iron Guts have always
ogres.
looked really cool, and these are
They look
even
great.
cooler
This
if
is a
possible.
really
The Iron Guts
sick-
are an elite
This
ogre
is
unit.
sick.
They carry enormous weapons, and they wear more armor. So you can see those armor plates on the arms going all the way up to the shoulders. Their helmets are a little bit fancy, and they've got these massive two-handed weapons.
They look like they mean absolute business,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like the
Those
size of
are
those weapons,
nasty.
and again, much more dynamic. But those blades are about twice the size of a mortal human, right? So they are going to make an absolute mess. They already are an excellent unit in Warhammer Age of Sigmar. They're still an excellent unit, and now the miniatures are even better as well.
Yeah, absolutely. To
That's
keep this
awesome.
rabble in line, you need an Ogre Tyrant. So this model is a multi-part kit. He enables you to build him in a couple of ways. Essentially,
Okay,
a
sounds like
really
your
powerful,
hero.
heavy-hitting Ogre character. Here you can see a couple of the options.
Oh,
I
look
love
at
this
the
one
back
with
of
the
his
fur
neck.
cloak.
They
It
made
sort
him
of
look
fits into
old.
the
That's impressive.
more sort of huntery style thing you can do with an Ogre army, where you want to focus more on the beast if you want to, or you
I
can go
love the
for
like
Gutbuster
tusks
with
through
this
his
one,
ears. Those are
whichever
really
you
cool.
prefer, really.
Yeah, if you've got the kind of Beastclaw Raider
Yeah,
vibe,
absolutely.
and I think you can obviously have a mix of them as well, but you've got a lot of different ways to kind of lean into different ogre armies, and it's just nice to have a multi-part character, right, where you can immediately start to make him your own. One of the big things about ogres for their
It's your
entire
own
history
stuff,
is the
dog.
idea of like big names, right? They carry that through
Yeah.
into this this battle tome as well, where the leader of your force is literally making a name for himself by achieving various feats. So being able to
That's
kind of
cool.
have the pelts of the things he's defeated on him absolutely makes sense. Those units we've all seen before in different ways. The next unit is
that
effectively a
neck is
new
crazy.
type. These
Whoever
are the
painted
Maul
that
Beast
needs a
Cavalry
raise. That's
and the
incredible.
Maul Beast Raiders. This is a 2 for kit, so
I
you can
love
make
the
2 different
bird.
units. They function in a similar way. Both of them are cavalry units. The Maul Beast Raiders are your kind of fast-moving scout unit. The Maul Beast
Okay.
Cavalry are your hard-hitting shock cavalry. They're a little bit more armored. The guy in the back has more weapons, whereas the Maul Beast
Okay.
Raiders have some ranged attacks.
Yeah.
These effectively replace the Mournfang Cavalry in your ogre list. They fulfill a similar sort of role in the army.
Yeah, and we'll talk a little bit more about just how tough they are and how hard they hit in a little while. So these are all the models that come inside that new Ogre army set. Obviously, you need the Battle Tome
Ooh.
and the War Scroll cards as well.
Love
This
the
is the
text for
Battle
that.
Tome that comes for the Ogre More tribes inside that set. It's got this lovely sort of finish to it. You can see the Tyrant on the front. Obviously, there'll be standard editions of the Battle Tome out in due time, and you'll be able to get the models separately. But if you want first in on the new Ogres, this is the way.
They didn't
It
talk
wasn't
about
all we saw in that
the
awesome
big
video, though.
centerpiece
Do you
that
want to
they-
show the
Yeah,
box?
I've
It's
got
pretty
the
cool.
box right here. So this is the box. It's really lovely. That is all the stuff you get in there. So just to confirm, you get 10 of those gluttons. You get the tyrant. You get 2 of the cavalry, and you get that big unit of
Oh,
Iron
so
Guts,
you don't get
and then
the
you get
big
your
centerpiece
battle
model
tome in
with
there
the
as well. So
box,
it's a really lovely
unfortunately.
set.
Fantastic.
That sucks.
Right. So, what else is there to talk about? Well, I guess we saw some things which fit in a different sort of part of the Ogre army with the sort of More Seekers
Yeah,
component,
this
right?
is cool.
Yeah, so one of the bits of the ogre force is the kind of tyrant and the iron guts and things like that. But another fairly major part of ogre society are the More Seekers, the butchers, and the things that follow in the butcher's wake. The butcher again is a model that's been out for a very long time, well
is
worth an
very
update.
gnarly.
This model is a phenomenally cool
He's
upgrade.
also deeply,
I-
disturbing.
Yeah, you've I
That's
think you've got some
crazy.
strong feelings on exactly how unpleasant
I
this
just find
particular
it
model.
really
The model's
unsettling.
great, but he's definitely a bit grim, isn't
and
he?
the longer you look, the more disturbing it gets. The way he's holding the corpse in his hand, the gore sloshing
That
around in his
does,
cauldron,
like,
and all this for
yeah.
what is essentially a really beefy ogre wizard.
Yeah, butchers are sort of
Okay.
part wizard, part chef, part shaman, part
Mm.
I
mystic
like that.
to the ogres. They're
Yeah,
really
that
important
really
to
is
ogre society.
phenomenal.
Ogre society basically is all about
Whoever
eating.
painted
All
these
ogres at their
ogres,
core
like,
have this
that-
kind of
this is-
unending hunger, which they
This is the
interpret as the
best
will of
paint
the
job
god
we've seen of
More,
this show.
who may or
is
may not
these
be part of the
ogres.
greater
These
pantheon
ogres
of
are
Gorkamorka, depending on which ogre you speak to. And
how well they're
butchers
painted.
try to tap into that arcane power, that kind of godly power,
Like,
and manifest it as various different spells.
it's
A lot of their magic
I'm
is to do
blown
with
away
consuming
by
something
the
and
painting
then
of this
manifesting
reveal
that
show.
into magic in some way. shape, or
Honestly,
form.
that's the
Absolutely.
biggest thing
There are
I've
more
seen so far
devotees
is
of the
that
Gulping God
the
coming. This is
painting that
one of
they're
those kits.
doing
These are the ogre
is
cleavers, and they are
insane.
kind of like butchers in training, right?
Yeah, these are fanatics of ogre society who follow in the wake of the butchers. They do a range of different things. After a battle, they'll
Kinda
collect
like a
up all the
wizard
various
bodyguard, wizard
body parts and
acolytes, I
offal
guess.
and bits of enemies to throw into the cauldron for the
There are
butcher.
some wrong
They
uns.
are kind of fanatically driven
God, I gotta stop
disciples
drinking that
of the
pee.
butchers and of the god More.
The combination of the miniatures design team and the heavy metal painting team have really just worked up a horror.
Thank
with
you.
these.
Yeah,
They
for
are
I mean,
so
Blood for the
good.
Blood God
That's
is
insane.
absolutely
it's crying out for these
gore,
miniatures,
gore
isn't
up
it?
to the elbows, cauldrons full of offal. These are incredible. They're not the only things within this More Seeker collective. That kit also makes another option. So you can either make the cleavers that you saw there, or you can make these, which are the Gutsiers.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
the
Gutsiers are
designs on
even
their
more
dummies.
horrible and sinister than the Butchers, if you can imagine that. These have tapped into the power of more, and the way that they work in game is that your wizards become more powerful and can effectively cast spells through these guys when they're nearby.
Oh.
The thing that I really like about them from a miniature
channeling
perspective is those
group,
gut
that's
plates.
cool.
If you look at the gut plates on something like the Iron Guts, they have just armored guts, whereas
You know,
these
they look like teeth, maybe. But
yeah,
these have
these
got-
guts look like intestines or offal or
and they're
or
kind of
guts,
rendered in
basically.
really like arcane. powder.
Yeah.
There's
I
something
love
very
it. I think it's
disturbing
really.
going on.
They look like they'd be loads of fun to paint.
Yep. And then,
Yeah,
of course,
these guys look
the
super sick.
center of all of this is Red the Moor. This is the
Yeah,
High
like a
Slaughter
carabiner.
Master.
That is
So
insane.
sort of like the head
This
of
is the
this
one I
cult
was
of
really
the Gulping
excited
God.
to see.
Eddie, what can you tell us about Red?
This is a brand new character for the Ogre Moor
Oh,
tribes.
he's a guy-
This
it's
is
a
one of
dude,
the
it's a
most
name.
powerful characters in your Ogre army. One of the most powerful characters in all
Okay.
of Age of Sigmar. Goes to battle on this enormous kind
Dang.
of cauldron construct that's pulled into battle by a Gorger. Gorgers are the other part of that kind of Moor Seeker grouping. So Moor Seekers covers your Butchers, your Gorgers, and all the kind of various fanatics that follow in their wake.
Could you
You've got this
imagine you're
enormous
just like a
cauldron, which I
cowling
assume is where
smoke,
the
you're just a
enemy army
villager.
goes after the battle.
And then
they
these
get
guys
thrown in there.
show up.
And this is
like-
both an incredible miniature, but also an incredibly powerful piece
Like
for
you
your
think
Age of
the
Sigmar
stuff
armies. We'll
in
have a little look at
40K
some of the
is
rules
grimdark,
around it
but,
later.
like,
And
this is
in
worse.
lore terms,
This is
this is
crazy.
the
This
high
dude's holding
prophet, the high
intestines.
priest of the Gulping God. So ogres from across the realms flock to Red the Moor to hear what they've got to say.
I love the fact it's being pulled into battle by a Gorger as well. That's just really cool. So all of these models are
That's
coming
really cool.
in the not too distant future for the Ogre Moor tribes.
Yep.
Obviously, we need a battle tome to learn all about it, and so there will be the standard edition on the left or the gamers edition on the right to let you get what you need to start playing. Your
Interesting.
game.
That
Yeah,
they're
so
not
I mean,
doing the
this is a
Gamers
huge and
edition for
sizable
40K, though.
update of things for the Ogre Moor tribes. We've
That's
shown you
not coming
almost
for
all of the
40K,
new models
but not
for the
all.
ogres. There's a couple more things on the way. The other thing that's worth saying is a couple of the existing units do stick around as well. So particularly some of the big Beastclaw Raider monsters. So if you've got some
Okay.
things like Stonehorns and stuff in your army, you can still absolutely use those, and they work really nicely alongside that Tyrant, which we have one on the table here done up as a
It's got that beast claw.
yeah,
Raider
it got the kind
vibe
of
going on,
beast
hasn't it?
claw vibe. I'll turn him around so you can see the kind of pelt on his back. Which is really
It is
cool.
very intriguing.
Fantastic.
Watching
Should we have a little bit of a
games
look
because I
at some of the
don't know
rules?
much
Yeah,
about
let's do
these,
it.
right?
What you'll find inside the battle tome. So these are
And
the
so
faction rules, the
it's
battle
cool getting
traits
to
for your
learn and
ogres.
see
What can you
where
tell us, Eddie?
these are
Yeah,
all
so
going.
we're not going to go through the
is our
entirety
kind
because
of
a big
only
old
touch
page
of
of
screen
rules
grab
there.
if
But
you really
yeah,
wanna
if you're an
know.
ogre player or you want to know what you're going to be up against in Age of Sigmar, take your screen grab now. Fundamentally, they've got two big army special rules. The first of the army rules is if you are in combat with an enemy unit at the end of the turn, or you've defeated an enemy unit in combat, so eaten them basically, you can just
Oh my God.
have some lunch. You can
Have a
take a
snack.
take
You
a
get to
take a
eat 'em.
chunk out of the enemy unit you're
Actually,
fighting,
these rules
and
might
you
get me
can
to
get
play
a bunch
Ogre
of different
more
rules.
times,
So this
'cause being
encourages
able to
your
say,
ogre army to just
"I'm
get
gonna
stuck
eat ya."
in.
No,
If they're in the middle of the
it's
enemy
so
army, they can
fun.
start getting bonuses. There's some really strong stuff in there. You've
Oh my
got stuff
God,
like
they
run and
get
charge. You can make the
brains, so
unit
the
harder to
brains
kill,
gives
make them
them
hit harder.
plus,
You can mess
like-
with enemy wizards, all sorts of stuff.
Plus control.
Fantastic.
That's so funny.
Go on.
And then you've got the other special rule in there,
Yeah.
which is basically like a special thing where when you charge into an enemy unit, you can basically say, would you like to stay where you are and take the ogre's charge, in which case you take a bunch of mortal wounds, or you can say, well, I'll give you the opportunity to move backwards if you like, in which case your opponent immediately cedes ground to your ogres. So it's really good for shifting units off
interesting.
objectives.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting hit by that wall of iron and muscle is no joke. Obviously, the war scrolls have been looked at as well. So these are the Maul Beast cavalry that we showed you before. They come in the army set.
It's cool that they're
and I
showing
talked about
the
how
rules
just
with the new
devastatingly
models
powerful they are. The gut biter weapons
immediately
do damage 3.
and
The
not
Maul
making you
Beasts
wait
do
6
damage
months till
2,
these
3 on the
models are
charge.
like a
These
week
hit you
from
like a
coming out.
landslide. So many
Get a
attacks.
little bit of like
incredibly
you should be
dangerous.
excited
I think this
about
is a really
this
powerful
rule.
unit.
And
If
I'm
you're
glad
familiar
that
with the
they're
way that
putting
ogres
this
work today,
on the
you'll know
screen
how Mournfang cavalry work. You'll
so
be
that
familiar
they're
with
not
the
doing
stats.
the thing
A lot
of
of the
like,
stats are fairly
"Oh,
similar to
noise runes
Mournfangs,
are
but
an
across the
anti-vehicle
board,
thing."
wherever there's a
No,
change,
you
it
have
tends
the
to be a
rules
bit
on there,
better.
so we're not
For the
over.
Maul
You're
Beast
going,
cavalry,
no,
they
it's
are
not.
a
You're
really
full of
tough
it.
unit to deal
Like,
with because they're
'cause that was
excellent
the
on the
big problem
charge
is
because they
they'd
get bonuses
say
to
these
charge,
things,
but they're also excellent when
no
being
rules behind
charged.
it,
So they're a
and then
really
they would come
hard
out and
unit
you'd be
to
like,
kind of
"Yeah, that
solve
wasn't
for your
right."
enemy. I
You may
think
have
just a
changed
couple
it
of these on the
halfway
flanks
through,
would
but
do
still
great,
not
or even
right.
investing on a big double-sized unit and slamming it into the middle of the enemy army could be very powerful.
Yeah, and you can see some of the special rules and things that are going on there, but I love the Ravenous counterattack rule. That means that you can be quite daring with them as a sort of like scouting units in your force. Brilliant. We talked a little bit about Red
Oh,
the
that's
Moor.
interesting.
Here is rules. There is a lot to take in.
Yeah, this is
Well,
one of the kind of big
that's a lot
big
of
name
rules.
special characters of the ogres as well. We're not going to go through everything on the sheet. Feel free to take a screenshot and peruse at your leisure.
Oh, that's
The
cool.
things
You
to
can
call
eat
out
them
are
alive
this is an
before the end
incredibly
of the
durable
turn
character. 18
on the
wounds,
wizard
4-up
one.
save,
That's pretty
and a
fun.
ward save means that you've got to
That's
throw
a lot,
We've got to
right.
throw a lot of stuff at this guy before he goes down. on. A level 2 wizard, that's
Yeah,
always going to be
ward save-
useful. The
ward
thing
save
to really
5 up,
shout out is
dang.
that command ability, where effectively you can pick an ogre unit nearby, and that unit can benefit from as if it was in combat with an enemy unit. So all of those big list of buffs that you've got in your army special rules, you can just give those out to units nearby for a command point, and you can do some great stuff with that. You've got one of them in there, which is run and charge. So right from the off, you can be like,
Oh, that's
I really
nice.
want one of my units in combat on the first turn. You can just do it. You've also got an ability that gives ward saves to loads of nearby units. So this is just an absolutely really useful linchpin unit for the middle of your army.
Fantastic. So that's a lot of great stuff coming all on the way for the Mortal Realms with the Ogre Moor tribes and this incredible range refresh.
Yeah, we've got some close-ups here.
Should we have a look?
Just a sense of how big they are. I don't know if we've got a human for scale. He seemed to have wandered up. Maybe they ate him when we weren't looking.
Yeah, probably.
So
Play
here
him.
you've got Red the Moor in the middle. You can see the size of him. He's really an absolute
That's the
beefcake.
one thing I will say about
And this
streamers that,
enormous
like,
cauldron that he's got
I
is just
shouldn't be
full of
drinking this
offal.
energy
He's
drink
a great big
before I
spoon for
pee.
stowing around the cauldron. Here on the side, you can see
we were
the
watching the
Ogre
Let's Hope
Butcher.
Nick doesn't
He's really
pee
quite
on
an impressive
stream
model in his own
streaming.
right. And again, this huge cauldron. If I spin him
I
around,
do
you can
have to
see just how
pee at some
detailed
point.
these models really are.
One of these days.
Just
Oh,
loads of things going on the back. But sort of, he's got these.
Here we go. I
animal
need more
horns and
energy, though.
things, so they look like they're carrying trophies and things all around. Just
That's
really great.
cool.
It's an
Sorry,
incredible looking kit. I
distracted
think
from
the
the
You get a
models
sense
team
of
have.
the size
Somebody
of
left
that's
the
a
minute I
human,
started
right, that he's
talking
holding
about that
on the
guy.
butcher
Yeah, no
there.
kidding.
So
He's got half a person.
yeah, you got half a person there.
It's pretty gross. So anyway, these have disturbed me for long enough. I'm really excited to see them come out. I think they're going to make quite a wave
All right.
in the Mortal Realms. We are
Let's go.
still
What's
not done yet.
next?
There is still more awesome stuff to talk about in this big summer preview. Next, we're going down to the Underhive.
Oh, it's next window. Looks like the Green Goblin's back. Looks something cool. Does that look like elves for a second, but I don't think it's elves. Ooh, that's cool. Blades of Matriarch, that's sick. Forge smelters. Oh, interesting. I wonder if they're gonna do like a smaller skirmish, even smaller game with this one. Yup. That's cool.
Welcome back and welcome to the Underhive with a new edition of Necromunda Skirmish. This is very exciting. I'm a big fan of Necromunda. I've played it since I was a 16-year-old boy, and it's great to see a new edition come. This is essentially an edition reset for Necromunda, and this core set here that you can see here, this 2-player battle box, is the perfect way to get into it. If you're an existing Necromunda player, we'll talk about some of the other ways too. Here you can see it on the screen. It pitches the Orlok. Sorry, crikey, you can see me going to my favourite gang just automatically. It pitches the Goliaths against the Escher in a classic house matchup. Let's have a look at some of the kits that come with it. We've got a box here which we can use as a prop, but we've got some great images to show on the screen. It contains 2 gangs within the box. The first of which are these. They are the Blades of the Matriarch. This is all new models. We've not released these ones before, and there's some fantastic options in there. At the back, for example, you can see a Huntress with auto pistols and multi-harness. On the right-hand side, you've got one which is a Blade Maiden with a shock whip. You've got the Chem Witch who's got the auto chem. It's like crazy looking flamer thing that you can see towards the back. Loads of fantastic options to really fill out an Escher gang. If you've already got an Escher gang, you'll probably want to add these to it because it gives you even more options and even more fantastic models. This is also a perfect starting point for an Escher gang in its own right. You could never have played a game of Necromunda, and these would be a wonderful jumping on point. They go head to head with the Goliaths. These are the Forge Smelters. Goliaths, the House of Chains, known for their sort of industrial power. And all of these like heavily muscled, stim-enhanced warriors carrying weapons which kind of have an industrial feel. So you've obviously got the heavy
At this point, I might as well just paint them up as
there's
Emperor's
loads of other
Children,
weapons
pretend
that might be
small
less
Emperor's
familiar.
Children.
For example, you've got the Crumper Riveter Cannon on the right-hand side. The Lady Goliath is holding that. You've also got things like the Servo Medicae that you can see on the Goliath at the front. You've got one with a Chem Slugger. There's loads of different things going on so that you can either add these to an existing Goliath force or just use these as your first ever Goliath.
For this.
I really like the ignition cannon that's on the left-hand side. 2 fantastic gangs.
Just love to play.
You also find inside the box absolutely everything you need to get started playing. So you have the gaming mat, the measurers, the dice,
who's
the
that
templates,
dude?
all the
Like
cards and bits
who's
and pieces.
hanging
You have the
out
full
like
rule
right
book.
here? Who's
You also
this
have
guy?
some terrain to
Who's that
position your
person?
gang behind to
'Cause that
start
person looks
playing your
sick.
games. essentially,
that model.
this is a wonderful way to kick off Necromunda
Welcome
if you've
back,
just
everybody.
never
We've
played
had a pee
before
break,
and
so we're
kickstart
back.
you into the new edition. So here you can see like a close-up on some of those other things as well.
That's cool.
There's really a lot to enjoy here in these gangs. And if you look at the back of the box,
It's
you
very
can see it all sort of laid out.
terrain pieces.
sort
Like
of
there's
panning
not
around,
much
just
terrain in the games that
full
they're
to the brim
showing,
of
so
great Necromunda
I don't
stuff.
know how
There's
Necromunda
more
plays.
to come in this new edition than just
so
this.
I
It's worth saying
wonder-
that
Ooh.
Necromunda, the thing that makes it so exciting is this continuous war between the great gang houses. So there are 6 gang houses that you might be familiar with if you know
That's
Necromunda
cool.
well. Essentially, you have the Orlocks, the Vansars, Cawdor, Dilac, Escher, and Goliath, and you can see them all displayed here. These are Underhive crew boxes. These
That makes
contain
sense,
models
then.
that
I
you
have
might
not had a
already
lot of
know if
range,
you're familiar
yeah.
with Necromunda, presented in a brilliant format that lets you essentially make one purchase to start an entire Underhive crew of your own. I'm a big fan of Necromunda. I've played it for
That's a
years
lot
and
of
years.
pistols
Really
and
big
stuff
Orlock
too,
gang.
where it's
And
like
I looked at the Underhive crew and was like, oh, that's like essentially everything you need for
'Cause
a
that
really
always reminded me
fantastic
of that
Orlok
one
crew. Things to talk about
Shadowrun
quickly while
game
we're here. So obviously
on the
this box
PC.
contains everything. If you just wanted the Necromunda rulebook, say you've got loads of Necromunda stuff and you don't want to buy a new the core box for some mad reason, then you can just buy the Necromunda rulebook. This is a large hardback book. It's just packed with lore and rules. And
So
all
is
the
this
good
a
things that you
new
would want to
edition
know
of
about
Necromunda, or is this a new
and it's been
mode for
revised. They've made
Necromunda?
updates to the rules to
Where
sort of
it's a
streamline things.
smaller one,
Every
or is
role
this
feels like it really matters.
updating the
Games are
the
very exciting. I'm
actual
really
edition?
excited to sink my teeth into it. If you've got an existing gang and you want to know where you find the rules for that, there's 2 more publications coming along for you.
Okay.
These are Gangs of the Underhive, which deal with those 6 gang houses we talked about before,
Because
along
Necromunda
with various
didn't have that
hangers-on and hired guns.
skirmish
And you've got Gangs of the
subtitle.
Outland, which deals
I
with those
wonder if
gangs.
they're playing it
sort
into
of,
playing it
Necromunda
up at the
denizens
fact that it's a
operate
skirmish game, right?
outside of the normal sphere, things like the Ironhead Prospectors or the Ashwaste Nomads, and you'll find their rules along with the various hangers-on in those books. So essentially, pick up the core rule book, pick up the gangs of the book that you need, and you are good to go with
Interesting.
Necromunda Skirmish.
I'm
There's still more.
they're interesting, introducing a lot
Really useful
of
to
new
have on the side of
ways
the table.
to
You've got
get
the core
into
gang
these
tactics
games
cards. I find
that we didn't
having
have
like
before.
physical things
Like
really
Old
useful
World
when I'm playing
having a smaller
Necromunda. It's a
style game
tactile
that you
game.
can play.
You've also got the scenario cards, which
Necromunda
help
having
organize your campaign.
potentially
and
getting
get
a
your
little bit
games
smaller.
flowing really nicely.
That's
Also,
really
if you want
interesting
to
that
like
they're introducing
enhance
that.
your battlefield, get your game going, there's an enormous range of fantastic Necromunda scenery and terrain. The Zone Mortalis range is big and beautiful, and there's an addition to it now with these Factoria pipes. You'll find some Factoria pipes inside that core set,
I
and there's
wonder.
even more if you buy this.
I wonder
Factoria
because you mentioned
pipes
that about the
box
range in game,
and
right?
brief.
I wonder.
Yeah,
if
I
it
think
is
that's one of
just
my favorite
narrative,
things
where
about
they're like,
Necromunda
well,
is
you
when you
wouldn't
start
have
to see
cover
people
all
like
over this
really
new-
lean into the
this
scenery, and they've got their
normal
Zone Mortalis bit, and
civilian
then they start building up, and
deck,
you get the pipes
'cause
and
it's a
walkways, and you
walkway.
can have
Like, why would there
fights
be
across the
cover in a
gantries, and you
walkway,
can shoot
you
people
know?
down from higher up, and all that sort of good stuff.
Absolutely. My favorite games in Necromunda are
So,
always
'cause I
ones
have
which
heard
play
that
to
this
multiple
one is
levels
more
and you can
narrative
blast
than
someone off a
other
12-inch
games, where
high
it's more
precipice and
role-playing
watch them
rather
plummet
I do like a
like
bit of
that.
Ash Waste every now and again, though.
Yes, I agree, but there's something I like.
There is something cool
I
about
remember
like
the
having a
first
little
time I
cross section of
saw-
a city.
Yeah, I saw that for the first time and it just blew my mind. If you've never played Necromunda before, this really is a perfect jumping on point. Necromunda is a really exciting game. Ask any Necromunda fan, and they will like enthuse about it. How
Exactly.
great it
Like
is.
we probably
And if you are an
wouldn't play
existing
Old World
Necromunda
with
fan,
if
you're
it
looking
was
for new
still
challenges.
2000
This is
points
really
right
great
now.
because the rules have been
But when you
tweaked and
tell me I
streamlined.
can only,
There's
I
gonna be
have
new
to play
secrets
700
unlocked.
points for this game. That's
And,
not that
it's
bad.
going to be a good time to be fighting
Like-
battles in the Underhive. The narrative
And also,
that's been
then
unfolding
most
for the past few years,
there's
the
the
Ramp
chance
and
that too
Succession,
that some of these
is
games
kind of
allow
done
you to
with.
then
I'm
own
really excited to
more
see
of
where
the
the team
gangs and
responsible
armies
for
and
Necromunda
hives and all
take it
that
in this
stuff.
new era.
So that's
It's gonna
more
be cool.
sales for
Yeah.
GW too, which makes a lot
And
of
we are
sense.
still
There's
not
more.
done. Yep,
Cool.
we are sticking around in the 41st millennium, but we're going to go to Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team.
Back
with
to the
this.
oh, okay. Oh, is that footage from Predator? Come on, give me Cat a chance. Come on, do
years
it.
of searching,
It's
we're
Exodite.
closing in.
It's the fucking dinosaur.
Something
Fucking it's dinosaur. They're doing the Jurassic Park
decades.
reference. I'm gonna lose my fucking. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be cursing. I'm gonna lose my mind. Yes! Oh my god, it's Exodite. Well, I'm buying these. Yep. Oh my god, Exodites versus Orcs. Holy crap! Oh my god, Stone Singer. Is that a Bone Singer? Oh my god, it's not even it's an entire range of Exodites.
we are alive and well in this year of 2026.
Well,
and who would have had Exodites
guess
on their
what?
2026 Warhammer bingo card?
This
Guess
is
who's starting elves
this is
now
a
this
super exciting box
edition?
set.
Really,
I'm-
right?
screw my
This is
Corsairs.
awesome. So obviously,
yeah,
every time we
this
have
is
a
my
new
new
Kill Team
Eldar
box set,
army.
it's very exciting.
I'm buying Eldar.
This
This
one, I
is my
think,
new
will be
Eldar
particularly
army.
interesting, not just
Yep,
for fans of Kill
I'm
Team,
here.
but
I
for
did
fans
it.
of Warhammer 40,000. Exodites
And a
are
Maiden
one of
World.
those last untapped,
The next Kill
awesome
Team
bits
set is a
of
Maiden
Warhammer
World.
40,000 lore. Whenever we get to kind of
Yeah.
unveil a cool new corner of the millennium, it's always very exciting. I think Exodites
Guys,
absolutely
I'm
fall
losing
into
my
that
mind.
little corner.
I'm losing
If you
it.
don't know what an Exodite is, very
Exodites is
briefly, when the
insane.
Eldari Society was starting to sort of way back before the
Exodites are
fall,
so
starting
cool.
to fall into decadence and depravity, the Exodites were like, no, thank you very much. And they left main society and they settled on places far flung from the mainstay of Eldar
Dinosaurs.
Society called Maiden Worlds.
Worlds.
They added
Beautiful jungle
dinosaurs,
planets full of,
guys. Oh,
rich
no.
flora and fauna,
Well, guess
and
what?
full
I'm
of
about
all
to
sorts of
become an
weird,
Eldar
wonderful
player as
creatures.
well, 'cause
Absolutely.
I'm
And then
about
when
to play
Eldar
dinosaurs.
Society was destroyed in the
there's no
fall,
anti-mounted
the Exodites
right
were one
now,
of the few
so
remaining bits that were
have
left.
fun.
Now in the 41st millennium, they have these pockets of idyllic beautifulness across Warhammer 40,000. Obviously,
can't
this being
believe it's
Warhammer 40,000, if you've
Exodites.
got something lovely,
That's
that wants to knock it over
massive.
and invade
There's
it.
probably a war coming.
There's always a war coming.
Nice.
So whenever their planets are invaded, they have to defend them with whatever tools they can find
But also,
available. And the closest thing
mounted
available
kill
is
team.
giant reptilian beasts that they can ride into
That's
battle.
crazy.
Should we have a look at the
crush their
models?
foes
That's
with.
a massive
So
change.
yeah, here we go. These are the Exodite Dragon Masters. Eddie, this is a very unusual kill team, right?
This is the
Yeah, so this
coolest
is
thing
a
I've
kill
ever
team first and
seen
foremost.
when
It is
comes to
really
elves. If
kind of
this had
weird,
come
really
out when
fun,
I started,
unusual
I
kill
would
team.
probably be
It is
playing
effectively 3 models and 2 little hangers on, so it's immediately very, very elite. In terms of how it plays in kill
And
team,
it's
it
elite,
plays in a really
elite elves,
interesting and,
yep.
and unique and unusual
Harlequin's
way.
Exodite
All of your units
combo is
have
gonna be crazy.
APL 4, which is wild.
Yeah,
In
absolutely.
kill team, so you can do all sorts of cool maneuvers. They
That's
are very,
fast.
very fast, as you would imagine, faster than almost anything else in kill team. They can leap up across bits of terrain. So if you think that your sniper at the back of the battlefield is nice and safe, perched on
Maybe
his
not.
ruin, think again, because a
so
giant
cool.
reptilian with an Eldari warrior on the back is racing towards you, ready to chop your head off. You
Oh
have
my
3 very
God.
different kinds of characters in there. Effectively, you've got a warrior archetype, a mage archetype, and a sniper archetype, and they all do very different things for your kill team.
Yeah, so here
Just-
on the screen you can see the 3 different
Where-
ones laid out.
where is this?
Essentially,
I want-
you
where's
have
my
the
here's
Clan
my
Blade,
money.
which is
Take
the
my
close
money.
combat
Just-
one.
just- I'll
have
give
the
you my
Lay
credit card
Stalker, which is
information
the one
right
with the
now.
sniper rifle,
It's
and then you have the
777.
Stone Singer,
Just kidding.
which is the Exodite who focuses on using psychic powers. And then they also have these little beasts that run around with them, and those are called Dracolites.
Yeah. And they look familiar to, if you know kind of how Eldar Craft World work, there's a little bit of the Autarch to
I
this
can't-
one. There's a little
oh,
bit of the
God.
Farseer
All
to this
my
one.
money
There's a
is
little bit of
going
the
down the
kind of
drain right
Ranger.
now.
So they have a kind of common ancestry with the Eldar of the Craft Worlds, but they have gone off in a slightly
I
different
love
sort of
their
cultural
design,
direction.
the,
And the
like,
biggest difference really is that they ride on the back of these cool reptiles.
Yeah,
But a really
Dinosaurs.
fun
They're dinosaurs.
kill team, a very different kill team. And I think probably going to be a very popular kill team as well.
yeah, absolutely.
It's not the only thing you get in this
Yep.
box. You've also got a bunch of orcs in here. The way that the
Nice.
orcs work in this kill team is a little bit like the Red Terror set that we had recently, where
Okay.
they are effectively non-player operatives,
Mhm.
and you
Cool.
can play a bunch of different games against these, either as a 1-player or a 2-player series.
So it's like a
There's a
horde of
campaign
orcs
in the
that you have
box
to
which
fight
tells the
against.
story of an orc war which has landed on this planet.
Oh,
The
look at that,
orcs who are
dude.
beast snaggers
The,
basically find a world
uh,
full of monsters, and they're like, "This is a
mechanical arm is
paradise!
so
Look at all
Some
these,
beasts.
look at all these giant beasts we can hunt." The Eldar are obviously much less keen on that than the orcs, and they have to try and
That's so
drive
cool.
off the orcs so you can play through this campaign. Also, of course, all the stuff in this box you can also use in Warhammer 40,000 as well.
Yeah, just to give a shout out to that Kill Team Exodite book, it's really cool. I got to have a look through it the other day.
That's neat.
It's got
I
great
love
lore in
that
it.
they
There's
did a
stories from the
Jurassic Park
perspective
theme
of
with
the
it too.
Eldari
They
Exodites.
really are
There's
going
also
full dinosaur.
like that campaign has some great missions in it. There's guides on how to set up make your battlefield to look like a maiden
I'm
world.
so
It's a wonderful book. They've
intrigued
done an
on
amazing job
how
sort of
the
bringing this to
Dragon
life.
Masters
Yeah.
will play as a
Worth
unit.
saying, one of the other ways that you can
Since
build up the kill team that
it's
you
like
get in this
a
set
character
is
shooting
as
in a
another
melee.
unit, which is called the Dragon Knights. These are
Okay.
the archetypal, I suppose, the closest thing we've got to the classic version of an Exodite.
Yeah,
Very
absolutely.
reminiscent of some of the very cool
That's
Warhammer
so
40,000
cool.
art from some of the early
Oh
editions.
my god,
This
that's
is
so cool. They
effectively
got the
a
lances.
fast cavalry unit of Exodites riding on those huge
I love the
reptilian
like
beasts.
the chaps.
And they work a
they
little
have
bit in game, I
chaps.
suppose, like your Shining Spears,
They have
where they can
dinosaur
charge in.
chaps.
They actually have laser lances, which is the same weapon that Shining Spears have. So they
that's
punch
cool.
pretty hard, but as well as the rider on the back fighting,
You've
who's a
also
good
got
fighter.
a crazed reptile beast
Dinosaur,
helping you
yeah.
fight, right?
Absolutely. So they hit really, really
This is
hard. They are
awesome.
like they're not super durable, but they're a little bit more durable than some of the other kind of combat units you might find in an Eldari army. So they're going to be quite
You're
a
gonna
useful little
watch
unit. I
me
think you
roll
will
up
see them
and be like, I'm
dotted around
playing
various
elves
Warhammer
at the
40,000
next Games 4
battlefields
meetup,
and Eldar armies
and
quite
I'm
soon.
just gonna have
The other
30
forces
units
in
of
this
these
box, the
dragon
Dragon
knights.
Masters, you can also use in Warhammer 40,000. And the way that they
Okay.
work is that each one is effectively an individual character in your Eldari army. So you've
That
got the
was
kind
my
of lone
question of
op
how they were gonna
sniper,
work.
you've
Yep.
got your fast moving hero, you've got a kind of buff support piece.
You got
So
a spiker,
effectively,
a
this
melee
one
master,
kill
and a
team
sniper. That's
provides you with
awesome.
4 different data sheets for Warhammer 40,000 Eldari armies. So it's a really flexible little
Yeah, no kidding.
And you have
clump
to
of
buy
stuff that
2
you can
to
add
get
into
both
your
units.
Eldari force.
Yeah, so Kill Team Exodite contains 3 Exodites and the 2 Dracolites. Obviously, these models will be available separately down the line. So if you wanted to put loads into your army, that's completely legit. There are loads of reasons that an Eldari force might have Exodites in it as well. When you look at the history of the Eldari, the Crawford Beltan
Oh, I don't
is
care.
so
My entire army,
affronted
it's
at the
very
state of
Sigmar,
the
you're
Maiden
right.
Worlds that they aggressively defend Maiden Worlds.
I
from
straight up
any,
would just, I'm playing
interference.
Exodites
Obviously,
now.
Elitok is known for the Rangers who travel around the webway and they visit all the Maiden Worlds on a regular
Yeah,
basis.
it's one of the main reasons the Eldari come into conflict with other races, right? They don't seek it out particularly, but one of the things that they have is this sort of cultural association with these planets. And whenever anyone invades, it's almost like it's sacrilegious, right?
Yeah,
This is
sort of protecting the
Yeah.
last true
absolutely,
ancient
yeah,
Eldari,
yeah.
really.
So this is almost always
Yeah,
why the
so guess
Eldari will
what?
get involved
You'll
in a
see
fight
me in-
somewhere. Is that
I said
craft
orcs
worlds
were
can
going to
fly
be
off,
my
but
new army of
planets can't really.
2026.
So when the
and
Imperium shows up
11th
and decides to
edition.
build
Ah,
a forge
nope,
world on
fuck it.
your wonderful
Sorry, I shouldn't
paradise
have said
world,
that,
you have to
but
kind of go and
screw
kick it
it.
off.
Yeah, absolutely. It's worth having a little look at the models, I think.
It's
So
gonna
here
be
we have
Eldar
a
Exodite.
stunt
It's okay,
beast
we can
snagger
do it on stream, it's fine.
sort of drafted in
We don't
to
care about
pose,
this
and then you can get a sense of
This
the
is-
scale
this
of these
is
things
new,
when
we're
you
learning.
the Exodite up
I'm
alongside.
excited. This is insane.
They're lithe. The beasts look really muscular, but they're still an impressive size model, and I think they're going to be quite popular
I'm
with people
so
who want
in.
to do just
Ah,
beautiful
I'm
paint
gonna
jobs, right? They're going to lend themselves really towards that.
Yeah, I mean the models are
I'm
beautiful.
so
Like I
excited.
think
This
I
is-
really
this
like
is-
the leader
That's in
unit.
particular. That
Yeah,
one, isn't it? Let's
the
get this
leader
right
of
away.
the
Sorry, buddy.
Dragon Knight is
Sorry,
just
buddy, get out of the way.
really, really excellent miniature. I think just
That's-
the kind of straight on
That's the
pose
best
for him.
Eldar stuff.
I'd be
that we've
amazed if we don't
had.
see a few of those at Golden Demons and things. He's got that beautiful back
Oh
banner,
yeah,
obviously, which
this
is
is
lending itself
absolutely Golden
to
Demon. Yeah,
kind of whatever showing
might
off
try and do
painting
this as a
scheme you'd
Golden
like to have a
Demon.
go at. The
Those scales are
reptiles they're
gonna be
riding themselves, you can paint in almost any
You're gonna be
color
able
you
to
can
do some
imagine, right?
contrast.
The heavy
That's
metal
gonna be
team here
tough.
has gone for some really cool, vivid color schemes. You could have anything in your paint collection. You could paint these guys. I think they're going to be a joy to paint, and I can't
Purple
wait to see them on the battlefield.
dinosaurs.
Absolutely. As I said before, like who had Exodites on their 2026 Warhammer bingo?
I think at least 3 people guessed
well,
when we
you,
posted.
We did.
You get to
Well
give yourself
done
a
you,
little
if you
I know
guessed
I
well
did.
played.
I had it
I'm
on
delighted.
there.
They've existed in the lore for such a long time, and it's really exciting to see them
Yep.
like on the tabletop in this way before.
Oh man,
This is
yeah,
the first
next
time
year
we've
we'll have
ever
to
seen
do a,
Exodites in
2026 or
plastic, and
2027
kind of
live
the first
stream
time really
for,
we've seen them properly.
I think there was like
I'll
one
try and
little
see if we get it
shred
right, 'cause
of
we did
cloth
predict
a little-
on one of the
that,
Corsairs.
Exodites
Like,
maybe
a
were
bit
an
of
coming.
old
scaling.
little metal one.
And I was really hoping.
Oh, yeah,
that they
maybe,
would,
yeah.
and I
End of the
can't
day,
believe that they did it.
Other than that, they've existed in the stories and in some scattered pieces of artwork. So what a happy time. We're very excited. And also
Eldar
the
have
love and passion that
dinosaurs.
spilled out of the Warhammer studio as they told us about them was just infectious. So hopefully you're
Oh,
as
yeah.
excited about these as we are, because they're very exciting.
This is a good sign
Um,
for 11th edition.
what else
The fact
is there
that
to say?
Eldar
We
Exodites
have
showed up
come
beginning of
to the
11th
end of
edition.
our
There was a lot of
is
stuff, Adam.
a
It
very
was a
good
lot of
sign
stuff,
that
and we
11th
said it was
edition
about
is
90
gonna be
minutes,
super
and
sick for
we're
models.
very, very
That's
nearly there.
crazy.
So thank you if you are still
Not
with us
done
and
yet.
enjoying the Warhammer preview. It's been
This
lovely
has
to
been
have
a
you with us.
great reveal show.
I
I'm a
should
big
round
fan
up.
of
There have
this
been a
one.
couple of questions floating around. One of them I can field right now. Somebody asked in the chat, what's the cost to the Warhammer Academy? The cost is nothing. It is free. You'll need to log in and sign up, but it is designed to help you just get started with your Warhammer journey. So it doesn't cost anything. Just join in and start learning about Warhammer and sort of honing your skills
Doesn't
and gaining
cost
confidence
anything
as you
yet.
do so. If you've got more questions, well, we've got good news. A few weeks back, Eddie and I did a Q&A, and we had a nice time doing it. So we're going to do another one in a couple of weeks. So
Okay.
here is an email address appearing mystically on your screen. Quanda, that is Q&A at preview.warhammer.com. That is where you can start sending your questions. Hopefully, Warhammer-related questions, and specifically about things
I
we
have
talked about in
plenty
the preview.
I mean, you can send in
non-Warhammer
any
related
question,
questions
but
to
we'll only
ask
answer
them.
the Warhammer related ones.
I have
only.
very few specialist subjects, and most of them revolve around Warhammer. So yeah,
can just
please
talk
do
about
send us
life.
Warhammer questions to that Q&A in a couple of weeks' time. We'll
That's
let you know
really
closer
cool.
to when it's going to be. We'll go
very
through those
excited for
questions. We'll
this.
pick the best ones, and we'll sit down and have a little session where we read some more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I guess all that remains then is thank you, everybody, for coming and joining in this preview and spending some time with us. Thank you to all the people behind the scenes who pressed the buttons
Okay.
and moved the models around and
was
made
it,
it
I
all work.
think.
You are champions. Thank you, Eddie, for knowing all the answers and making
Oh,
it look
that's
good.
all right. I had a great time.
Brilliant. In that case, until next time, we will see you again very soon. Good night.
Okay. Fun. Very cool. Let's wait to the end. This is where they did give us an EC preview last time. So I wonder if we'll see anything interesting at the end of this. And the answer is no. I think. It looks like it's over. But thank you guys for watching with us. We're going to stick around for a couple of minutes just to talk about it and kind of go over some of the things that they talked about. Because that's very, very exciting. This has been a very good reveal show. Talk about some of the big reveals. I still have the reveal show on just in case they do anything right. Because you never know with GW, right? They might give us something random. You see all my lo-fi chill music. It helps me sleep. All right, and that's it. Yep, cut it. It's done. All right, everybody. Well, we're going to stick around for a little bit to talk about some of the stuff that was on the preview and kind of go over anything that was like kind of exciting. I kind of want to go over the Orc Codex a little bit more, partially because that's going to give us a good idea of what we're going to be looking at in 11th edition coming for the future. But it looks like that this stream is completely done. Sticking around for a little bit, which is quite surprising. Oh, look, some people are upset about Peter Turbo. Yeah, it's all done. Yeah. I will say that there was one thing I did think that was a little nuts was the fact that they did say that they were going to go back to 40K, but they keep saying that they're going to go back to 40K, and then they show us Kill Team, which is sick. I mean, I'm not upset. Of course, I'm not upset about Exodites, obviously, right? As you can see with my entire reaction, not being upset about Exodites. But it is one of those things where like we go back to the 41st millennium for Kill Team. Just say that. It's Kill Team. Like, we're not getting any more Warhammer 40,000 stuff. This whole way that they've been doing this too, this is also new, which is super cool. What do you guys think about the new Orc truck? I'm excited for it. I think it looks really cool, especially getting started in Orcs myself. I think that's really cool. I'm excited to not have to buy a bunch of, oh god, that looks like it's going to be so sick. I'm excited to not have to buy a bunch of old trucks and a bunch of old models to start a new Orc army. But from what the people were saying, it's like, yeah, if you were an Orc fan, this is a great start. But it also did say that the first codex is Orcs, right? Lots of fun, flashy models recently, which I'll never complain about. Agreed. I will not complain about more models. What I do want to talk about is Codex Orcs, because we did get a lot of interesting information. God, such a cool model. I enjoy how they're doing this setup. I mean, they've obviously put a lot more work into these website designs for this. The mech looks cool. And okay, finally the war boss is coming out. Oh, here's the multi-part war boss stuff. So, oh, that does suck that you don't get this little grot in the Armageddon box, unfortunately, looks like. That kind of sucks. But it is cool that you're going to get to do and have all these different changes. Looks like you get to add like a burner to him. Oh, that's cool. The like kind of commando looking orc. I'm a big fan of that. Having a banner is going to be really cool, and the power claw is neat. But all of those are really cool. But I am more interested in this, right? One, whole new design. Look at that. Like, we're going into a completely new design for the aesthetic of the entire codex, which is neat. I will say, I can't believe that they're doing softcover books. I think I heard somebody rumor that, and I am one where I am like, man, it's a softcover book. That kind of sucks. I wish it was still a hardcover book, or at least have the option. But beggars can't be choosers, right? So This is also the interesting thing. So the new take on the WA army rule, not super new, but you get reroll advances. That's cool. It also does show that they are changing army rules. They are adding and changing stuff. So the thing I've been saying for a literal year, please, GW, come on, call me. We could talk about the EC army rule. We can make it one that's really cool where I can advance everything. Let me advance all my stuff. But I found that was really cool that they are changing some of the army rules to make things a little bit more fun, right? Getting to reroll those advances is nice, right? Maybe they'll do something for EC where everybody gets to advance, but if you want to reroll your advance roll, then you have the restriction come in. But again, that's a what if. But I'm excited now. That's really cool that they are willing to do some new changes to the WA army rule, which means that they're willing to do some changes. So we might see new. Honestly, I swear, they might not have talked about Space Marines, because I swear if they do Oath of Moment and they change Oath of Moment and they make Oath of Moment and they remove the -1 or the +1 to wound, guys, we will have won. We will have beaten the classic Space Marines, because I'm so sick of that +1 to wound. As just that's an insane ability for their army rule. So I hope this means that if there's a new take on the classic WA rule, that they're going to go and look over all of the army rules and make them more fun, which is really cool. Hopefully, if you enjoyed your army rule, they keep the same army rule. I hope they don't mess up a lot of army rules, but it does seem like they're trying to make them more powerful, right? Which is really cool. Getting those reroll advances is just nice for the new edition changes. Also, comes with no fewer than 15 detachments. Okay. Not 15 new detachments. 15 detachments. So that's one of the things that I found was, because it says no fewer than 15. Right? How many do they have right now? How many orc like whatever they're called are there now? How many? Because they've added 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in there, right? From the Grotma stuff. And how many was there in the beginning? Because that's my question, right? Are they adding more, or what we got in the beginning, is that all we're going to get? Because it kind of feels like if they're saying, oh, no fewer than 15, that you might get one new one in the book, which kind of sucks, right? If what we got at the very beginning of the edition was the only thing we got. But also, we have no idea. Like, that is another thing that we just don't have any idea about. When it comes to what they're planning on for these codexes, because we don't know, right? Like, that is really interesting that they said it was no fewer than 15 when I already count 6 right here. So what are we adding, like 3 more? It's like, if that's the amount, that's fine. But it is a weird, like, are we getting new stuff, but we're just going to update the date? Like, we're not moving the detachments. We added all the detachments in 10th edition. We're refining them in 11th edition. And that's what we're doing. We're adding a couple things and refining them. Is that the plan? That's my curiosity, right? Where we're at is that I'm wondering what the plan is. Are you going to be adding detachments, or are you going to be updating the already rules that we have? So instead of what we were doing in 10th edition, right, where every new release was a new detachment and new rules, now it is, ooh, they didn't talk about this. Look at this a command pack, 94 reference cards, detachment stratagems and enhancements, along with double-sided tokens. All right, Etsy, they're coming for you, because so they're going to be making command tokens now that are going to be official tokens. So Emperor's Children, you're probably going to get some advance and fallback tokens. That's really cool, really nice, but also at the same time, I wonder if that's what a lot of the cease and desist that were happening is because they were making their own tokens. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. So that's cool. They didn't talk about that. They flashed the orc detachment list during the preview so you could compare it. Yeah, that's a good point. I wonder, somebody's probably got that on Reddit that I could probably find. But honestly, I could probably just go back into the actual. Don't judge how I type. I just throw it all in there and then we get there. We get there eventually. There we go. No, we don't need to watch Trevi's live because we'll watch my live. I'm dogs now.
Which is everything you would. The reason we brought these along is so rule, essentially, isn't it?
Okay. There we go. Okay. So these are the detachments. So we've got which one did I click on? God, I have too many tabs open. Oh, I just left. That's why. Ding dong. It's actually probably easier if we look at the field manual. I can see. Okay. So right now, these are the current detachments that are in the game, right? We've got War, Mordaka, even the 1DP ones. We got 1, 2, 4. So we got 12, right, currently. So they're going to add 3 more from what they're saying. Let's see which ones they don't have on there, actually. Oh, I really need to be better at this. Oh my God, this is insane. Why did I do this? Okay. We're going to move that tab over here so I'm not as stupid. Okay. Madcap Mex is new. So that one's new. That one's new. Brute Bosses also looks new. Brute Bosses is new. Flyboys is new. Warband is also new. So we've got Warband, Brute Bosses, Flyboys. Madcap Mex is new. Is Runt Swarm new? There's a lot of new ones. So, okay. So that was the weird thing. They said they have no fewer than 15. And it seems like they're adding, like, how many is this? So there's like 16 on here. Do they do no fewer than 15 so that they could say it's 16 detachments? I don't understand. Because also, if we see here as well, like, I think all of these are on here. Runt Swarm's not on here. So Runt Swarm's also new. The Big Hunt is new. Oh, no, the Big Hunt's not new. Okay. Cool. So we found one that I felt like I was crazy for a second. Felt like I was nuts. But, okay, so Runt Swarm is new. Mex is new. Flyboys, Brute Bosses, Warband. That's a lot of new detachments. That's nice. And if orcs are getting this many, and they didn't really get a lot of love last edition, can you imagine how many freaking Space Marine detachments there is going to be when they drop those? Like, it's probably going to be double this list, which is insane. Because if we go back and we look at what, like, because this is what the current orcs have right now, right? Just a note for EC, the current amount in EC. So we're actually 2 less detachments than the orcs have, right? Which is fine. It kind of makes. Explain to me why a T3 model is 5 points less than a Death Guard. Anyways, I'll be complaining about that all day. It's fine. There. Okay, so as of right now, this is the amount of detachment Space Marines has. So what's hilarious is that, like, even when it comes down to this, there's way more space. Like, I wonder how many Space Marine detachments they're going to add to this, because this is a lot already. This is a very huge amount. But cool. This makes that such a weird sense, because it does feel like there's more, but also we just don't know what the like DPs of each will be. Like brute bosses, I have a feeling will be a like a 1 DP one, and it's going to be about all of your leaders, right? Like how they've done for a lot of the other ones, like the demons detachment that they did. Warband, I'm really interested in, because that just sounds really funny. I love the like play on words. I wonder if it's going to be all of a certain kind of weapon rather than like a certain kind of unit. I do love also the Space Marine trophy that he's got on the back there. You can see that. So that's super cool. But also, basically, that's what he's saying. Your codex will be a subscription to a whole edition worth of updates. So I hope what they were saying about them having a lot more lore in this book, I hope that that will be happening, because I think that will be really cool if they focus more on lore. I'm also very curious, because they showed off this truck, right? So you see there's this gun. There's this gun, right? And then there's another gun that they didn't show here. Yeah. No, not this gun, but there's a third gun besides these two, and it looks like a single barrel gun. I'm very interested in how that's going to work, and if you're going to be able to have gun options, and if that's already a thing for trucks. Because again, I don't play orcs, but I'm very intrigued on, like, this is so cool. This multi-part war boss is so sick. But I'm very intrigued on how, because that was one of the coolest things that they showed off this entire thing. Also, did you notice that they did a riled up, like another keyword for the rest of your army rule? So I wonder if you're going to be able to get this riled up thing. And the big one is that your WA is only going to be reroll advanced rolls, but you're going to have the ability to do this kind of stuff intermediately, which will make it a little interesting. But like, so this one, this was where it started to be really interesting. Because that they did not talk about it. They didn't talk about this at all, which was this brand new a whole keyword thing, right? Because they were talking about, oh, there's going to be some changes, and like, you remember these are the new changes, and they highlighted these are the changes. That's new though. Like this lethal hits going for non-monster / vehicle units that's new. That's very new. And I wonder, that was weird. How did that work? Weird. I wonder if this is what they were talking about when they were talking about hunter weapons. Is it Control S or whatever? I can't remember what control. That's just my files. I can't remember how to search things. I'm not good at stuff. It's okay. We don't need to worry about it. But they talked about these hunter weapons at some point. Right. That's not it. But they talked about these hunter weapons before, and they were like Hunter X, right? And that you could only target certain things with that hunter weapon. And this, I think, is the first example of these Hunter X weapons, right? Where you have, this is, if it's to a non-monster / vehicle unit, you gain lethal hits on it. This is really cool. Actually, I'm a really big fan of that as a setup in a play style in general. Because of the fact that there was always
He's looked at. So here's the
where
truck that
you
we
wanted them to have. Let's see.
I
Did
just
I
showed you
talk about
before, and you can see what's gone on with it. So you can see the different weapon options and things to give you a sense of what it means for your codex, I suppose.
Yeah, so what you'd expect, it still kind of has a similar-ish stat line to what the truck does at the moment. It is a kind of medium-sized vehicle. The things that you'll notice are that it has more weapon options than it used to. So you've got options there for different combat weapons, different shooting weapons.
And piling out is quite a nice
Yeah,
thing, isn't
you've got a really cool little mechanic where if an enemy unit gets nearby, something like a unit of fire dragons or eliminators or something is ready to kind of ready to kill your truck, you can pile the boys out, ready to kind of countercharge or to avoid being caught in the explosion or something like that. It's a really useful little rule that's got some quite neat little tactical plays you can do with it. So I think trucks are going to be very useful.
Yeah, perfect. And then in terms of other data sheets been looked at, it'd be worth looking at.
Okay, yeah. So they didn't talk about it, but that's all over this data sheet.
Orc boys who really have had something of a stat line glow up, it's fair to say.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a lot going on this data sheet, and I think I would recommend it.
Also, notice that they stat lined all of boys to make them stronger by +1, which gives me a really big that gives me a big hope that they're gonna adjust other things like Marines too, and maybe make them a little bit stronger, or make it so that like what's cool is that stat lines that were effective, right, can now be changed to more effective because they're willing to do these changes that they weren't willing to do beforehand. But so now we've got the close quarters thing, but we also have these lethals on non-monster and vehicle units. So custom shooter has lethals, Shuda has lethals, combi rockets got lethals. All of these have lethals, but they're specifically saying like, oh, blah 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 against non-monster / vehicles. So I wonder if we're going to start to see them effectively make units more anti-infantry, anti-vehicle if they are doing this in that way, where they're saying like, I'm going to give you a gun that has lethals on it, which might mean that we also might see lethals as a detachment bonus or like a rule bonus start to go away a little bit more if they're because that's a crazy amount of lethal hits. I never played orcs beforehand. If anybody who's in the chat played orcs beforehand, like they have lethals on their weapons like this, did they not? Like I don't remember orc boys having lethals on their ships. I just don't remember that. I'm just gonna Google it at this point and see if we can find it on Wahapedia. They have lethals before. Let's see. Is the AI going to tell us? Yes. So yeah. Okay. Yeah. So okay, cool. So they gain lethal hits in multiple ways, right? Now they've just got it. So I'm really intrigued on how this is going to really play out, because the fact that you now see lethal hits. You've got 1, 2, 3. And I mean like pretty much all these normal stuff, but like the fact that they got lethal hits against infantry, that's a lot. That's crazy, actually. Like that's a massive change to the data sheet that they just didn't talk about at all during this reveal show, is all these lethals, these really important characteristics. And the Shuda has them. Just Shudas have them, right? Like as long as it said shoot to, it has lethal hits except for sluggas. So is that going to be a thing now, where most like is a bolt gun going to say lethal hits against infantry? Like, is that how this is going to go now? Are we going to start having like basic weapons say like, oh, if you're going against infantry and you get a 6, it's a critical hit? Are lethals going to be so much more common now than they were beforehand? Because at this point, I mean, I just checked it and there was not a way to give them lethals without them having a new ability or a new data sheet. So this is the entirety of an update of a data sheet, gaining lethals across their shooting, which is very fun too, because they shoot on 5, so then every 6 is a lethal, right? Doing more DACA, you get sustained. And then we have the kitty who wanted to be a part of the stream. But like, this is a big. Oh, you want to get down? Okay. Okay. Here we go, baby. There you go. But like, that's very interesting, right? They were like, hey, you probably noticed that all your boys went up to strength 5. Actually, no. I noticed the fact that they gained lethal hits on all their shooters against infantry that we didn't talk about. That's a little kooky crazy. I'm very intrigued on what that means now for the rest of the codexes, because they didn't talk. Guys, it's time to start drafting our letters for the Quanda email, because this is perfect for Q&A. I mean, like if we look at look at this, right? They'll make you hit on 6s for the ballistic skill and cover, but it's rapid fire, and then they're all lethal hits against infantry. But look at that. They're also lethal hits non-monster / vehicles. So I wonder if they're gonna do certain things where it's like take the Blast Masters, which is my biggest complaint from that reveal show of GWs, because they're like, well, your Blast Masters are your they're gonna be your like anti-tank weapon. And there wasn't anything that helped them. And I wonder if they're gonna move away from having like anti-vehicle critical 4 up, right? Saying like, oh, anti-vehicle, anti-this, on this, right? And instead they go, well, you get lethal hits against certain targets that you are supposed to go into, or like maybe sustains for Slanesh. I'm not sure, but that's massive. I mean, the fact that I don't think trucks had lethal hits built in, and out of the 2 data sheets that they've shown us for orcs, they have lethal hits built in, which is a massive buff. It actually makes me very curious on I'm so curious if the orc players are already talking about this. So yeah. No, this is in World Eaters, where World Eaters are going to start complaining. Oh, that's really funny, actually. Let's see if r/orcs has any information on how they're feeling about the new. These guys would definitely. I love that, by the way. That's great. Interesting that nobody's talking about that lethal hits edition. Because I just don't know. Do you like? Is this something that you think is going to do something for boys? Like, do you guys think that this is something that actually is massive for boys? I think it's pretty cool and massive. In all personal honesty, I think this is a really interesting change. It might seem that lethals and things like that might be going to weapons rather than going on to abilities and saying, well, a lieutenant gives me lethal hits, when it's just, I have a bolter and that bolter has lethal hits. And I'm kind of liking that. I do appreciate that everybody else is seeing how stanced up this truck is, because I will be stancing my truck. I'm interested to see what do they think about the detachment stuff. So, Looks it looks like everybody's having a good time with this. It is very interesting that that people aren't talking about the fact that now they have this buff. And I wonder if that's how this is all going to go now. Where basically you're going to have, instead of saying like, oh, well, this Power Claw is getting lethal hits, or like the Lord Exultant giving lethal hits out to Tormentors, if it's going to be something where it's like, well, into infantry, he gets lethal hits. Right? So we stop having this weird thing of like, well, a bolt gun is shooting a demon prince and not having to worry about it. Now having to worry about the wound. That's really, I'm so interested in that now. Because this is a very, very big deal for when it comes to what's actually happening with the codexes. Because I think that this means that we're now getting more keywords on weapons rather than the boy or like the model itself being special, and more of like, well, I paid to put blast masters in this army, or this guy has blast masters, right? Kind of like how they described the plasma pistol system, where they were like, well, your plasma pistol or your plasma, right? If the guy dies from the mortal wounds, it's if the squad would just pick up the plasma gun after the guy incinerated himself, which I like. I think that's really good. I think it makes a lot of sense to be like that. The weapon is the thing that you're bringing, right? Not the guy. Not the guy is the thing that's special all the time, right? And I think that kind of doubles back until kind of it like it I think it's something that allows you to kind of be a little bit more personal with the gear you bring, right? Especially if there is no new narrative, right? And it's only going to be standard games. It allows you to kind of be like, well, what I do bring has a big difference now, because in the last edition it was like, well, what's the strength of that thing? And it didn't matter, because if the strength was higher and the attacks were higher and the damage was higher, that just was a numerically better attack than others. And now it might be something where you're like, yeah, but I want to bring all these guys that have lethal hits on infantry, and so I'm going to give them bolt guns because I don't want to have melt the guns. I don't care about that for this unit. I want them to have like for my guys, I could see myself going, I want to have rapid fire, lethal hits, and this is an anti-infantry squad. This is not, I don't care about that melt gun that I'm getting point costed for, that I'm not shooting because I just don't need to or don't want to. So I do like if they are going to go that way and say like, hey, the weapons have more of an impact to the data sheet than just the dude holding it. I do like that. I think that's going to be interesting. And I think that's pretty much it for what like to talk about for the new orc stuff. Again, this is a lot of speculation for stuff that is not confirmed, and is also very little information as well. Because like I'm really reaching here, and I think I have a good idea of where they're probably going with that, and it does feel right. But it does feel also at the same time of we have no idea, right? We have no idea. Only thing that we know now is that orcs are the first codex. That's all we know, right? They didn't say when that codex is coming. They didn't say how long we had to wait for it. I'm guessing what it's probably going to be is that July 13th, when the Deathmire stuff ends, that's when the codexes are going to start to come out. That's what I think. But let's come and talk about the Eldar Exodites now. I love this little intro video that they did. I'm sorry for screaming through it the entire time. I loved it. The fact that it was literally the raptor thing from Jurassic Park was awesome. This is amazing. This is the most amazing thing that they did this entire reveal. They have my money. They have it. Here's my money. You this is where my money's going. You look great. Swords look sick. Guns look sick. These guys look awesome. It's exciting that these guys are probably going to be starting in a group of 3, right? Kind of like elite units like Flawless Blades and stuff. Oop, they're getting tokens too. Looks like they're going to have rules for like being within distances. Also, to have the base plates for those big like block things is cool. Drake Steeds. That's nice. Well, that's really cool. I'm super excited about this. I look at this orc that has like a Drake skin on his back. I think these orcs are going to be really sick too. I think being able to have more of that like single player option for this game is going to be really neat. But we've been going on the stream for about 2 hours. I probably have to pee again, and also I'm sure the rest of y'all have lives that you got to get to as well. So we're going to be going live again on Monday. I'm going to try and stream almost every day now and try and do these videos as well. We're going to figure out how it's going to work. but this should give us some more content regularly and have some more fun. So we'll be streaming live on Twitch. I'm going to figure out how to do Instagram as well, since we're still learning a lot of this stuff. But thank you guys for joining in. This was super exciting. I hope you guys were excited as I was. And I am very excited to catch up with you guys on Monday and see what the weekend brings for what's coming up next week. So if you have any questions or comments, thank you. See you next time. If you have any questions or comments, please go to work in progress _ painting. That's my Instagram there, and you can directly reach me there and have more comments and talk, and then we can figure all this stuff out together and have fun. But we're going to be doing more of these. Hopefully, so I'll be figuring out some more videos soon. God, look at the eyes of that dragon. Isn't that so cool? But until next time, thank you guys for watching. Very excited to do the next stream very soon. And yeah, looking forward to the next one. All right. Have a good day, guys.